Hello and welcome to the latest of the Houston We Have a Problem live phone-in. Basil's come up to give me a wee bit of chat before, hopefully we get loads of people in with their own issues. So just to remind those who have not seen it before, there's a link if you go on to either Twitter, where I put a post with the show, or if you go into YouTube, there's a link in the description, I think, and I've just put one in the comments and pin it so that you can you can join. So if you want to come up and tell me what your problems are, then all you do is click the link, come on, I'll bring you into the studio and just start your conversation with Houston We Have a Problem, and tell us what's annoying you about the UK or Europe, the world in general, and we can get you up. So there I've popped that into the, what do you call it, the messages.
Are you feeling all right?
No, mate, I've been running a bit daft all day.
I'm sure you've done this before. I'm slightly going, this is his job, isn't it? It's like it's your first day on the job or something.
Of course it is. I work for the STV and BBC. Right, so I've now changed YouTube as well, so it's in your description and it's in the comments. If you want to come on, click that. We'll get you up the studio. Just tell us who's going to have a problem and tell us what's bugging you just now. So, what's bugging you, Basil, this last week?
Houston, I have a problem. The problem I have is it turns out that in Canary Wharf, which is a migrant hotel, that today the protesters that were down there, a Section 28 order has been issued by, I presume, the London Mayor and the police, the Metropolitan Police. And as a result, it means that peaceful protesters can't protest outside the hotel for 28 days. Now, that's a problem for me because I believe in freedom of speech. I believe in the right to peacefully assemble and have your voice heard. And I just think that it shows that our country is sliding towards tyranny when people can do that. So what are we going to do about it?
And has this sort of notice ever been placed in any other migrant hotel throughout the country? Ever?
Not that I'm aware of.
So is it pure chance that it's London and it's Sadiq Khan's area that suddenly we've got this thing about it?
Right. I see where you're going with that. Yeah, Sadiq Khan. Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? He's a big fan of migrants. He's a big fan of the multicultural London and all the rest of the crap that comes with that. So yeah, that makes sense to me.
Possible. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there, but it seems pretty weird because I heard about this. I was down in Ayr all weekend with the kids. There was a football tournament on, so I've been on my feet for 48 hours and dead on my feet. My knees are done. My head's not working. You've already established that because I didn't know what I was doing at the start of this this live. But I kind of picked up the way up the road and I thought, well, that's a new thing. I've never heard of this before. And how do you know? How did it just put out a tweet and that's it? You're meant to know, and if you turn up at the hotel, you get arrested, or did they accept you if you got? Are they going to police there?
Yeah, well, Charlie Sampson's just posted the removal of right to protest was brought in by the Conservatives. It's absurd and was likely introduced in case of COVID tensions flared. Charlie, I've actually seen the law for this apparently goes back to Tony Blair, so I'm not sure which one's right on that one. But the point I would make is all these Palestine protests, we had hundreds of thousands of people, or tens of thousands at least in London, every single week. They never issued one then. It's only now that it's against migrant hotels that it's become a problem. And obviously the fact that it's not been issued at other hotels, as you've just pointed out, and, you know, at the end of the day, it must have some political influence behind it. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Mayor of London was responsible for this. So the question now is are other politicians going to use these orders to say, well, you can't protest outside this hotel and all the rest of it? So how do the British people have their voice heard?
Well, I've never heard of this thing before. I've heard of the other section, such and such, which is a dispersion notice, where they say, this is getting a bit daft. From 10 p.m. tonight, everybody off the street. If you're within 100 metres of this address or a mile or whatever, you're getting arrested, right? We've all heard of them before. But this to actually say for 28 days, nobody is to come near the front door and protest. That's a bit mental.
Yeah,
but it's not getting used as a hotel anymore, or, you know, because normal people will need to go to the door if they were booking in. So that's not. And I just thought, that's a bit bonkers. So will we see dispersion notices now that are not like from 10:30 p.m. tonight till 7 o'clock tomorrow morning? Because that's kind of the normal ones. Are we now going to start doing this where they'll say, right, number 10 down the street, 28 days, can't you come near it because the guy that lives there's a bit pissed off, right? You're calling them about, causing them alarm and fear or whatever it is the terminology they use, because that's kind of what they're saying. We're causing the people in there to be distressed. So nobody's to come near for 28 days. So are we going to see more of this through the summer?
Well,
I picked up, sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I've just looked into it, and it was it came in 2001. The maximum time they can put on them is 28 days, but the average time they put on them is 48 hours. And these are the exact same dispersal notices you're talking about, Craig. So basically,
so
it's
the same thing.
It's
just
the same
the
thing. They've just
changed, right?
Yes,
right.
at the time scale they've used the maximum time scale possible. So you'd think this was meant to be there just in case something, I don't know, terrorism or something, a threat of that. You know what I mean? These are meant to be for extreme circumstances. And if anyone's watched the protest today, it was actually like mums and girls that were there. They were all dressed in pink. So you couldn't accuse that of being far right,
Well, of course you can, because everything's far right if it's not kind of woke and cuddly.
True.
Do you mean? So it doesn't matter if there's no guys there. Just you're far right because the government don't like it.
Yeah. And again, when you look at the situation the country finds itself in, how many people keep using the word tinderbox to say that this country feels like it's on the edge, like it's about to explode, all the rest of it. This isn't helping. Taking away people's right to peacefully protest is not helping any of this. So the politicians keep just putting their head in the sand and hoping it will go away. But it won't.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, people are angry about having illegal migrants in their communities because we know what happens. And we saw that again just the other day down in, was it Warwickshire, where there was a 12-year-old girl who was raped by 2 illegal Afghan, well, technically asylum seekers, but as we know them, illegal migrants. And the police tried to cover it up. And it was, let me just double check that. Yes, it was Warwickshire, because the leader of Warwickshire County Council wrote a letter, which I posted earlier on Twitter, saying to the Home Secretary, saying, by the way, you need to tell people about this because what the police are doing is hiding the fact that it was illegal migrants behind it. And that's going to kick off as well. And Circle put them in those houses, by the way.
I see there's a guy called Charlie Sampson whose face has shown up because he's on, I'd imagine, your Twitter feed, which has gone a bit busy, to be fair. Coming into the live show. Charlie seems to be asking a lot of questions. Charlie, click the link, come into the studio, join the chat. Do you know this character at all, Basil?
Yeah, Charlie, if you want to come on, this is a live show that Craig does where people can actually come on the show and speak. So if you want to chat, mate, just put in your request and come and speak.
I kind of wanted to do an X space, but take it a step further. So we have, the speakers up the top, that's people that are in the studio, and the listeners are all the people that are listening on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, but they can still come up and talk. So click
Where's the link?
It's in, if you go into my YouTube, the last post I put out has got a link to it, and it's on if you're watching, that's on Twitter. If you're on YouTube, either look in the description, there's a link there, or I've also put it in the comments. I can't pin it in the comments because it's live for some reason, or I just don't know how to. But I put it in both. Okay.
Oh yeah, I see the link. I see the link in the comments. Yeah, cool. I'll put it underneath my Twitter post so anyone wants to join.
And we had Allan. You know Allan from Ballymena. He'd funnily enough sent me a message about 7:15, just to say, Craig, next time you're doing a live, will you let me know? I imagine he's got something to tell us for Ballymena. There might have been some developments there. So if Allan's tuning in, crack on, get us up, get in the chat. Marshall says he's not coming up because he'll swear and stuff like that, so that's probably wise. Anyway,
probably wise.
Well, I'm going to actually, I couldn't find it. I was sort of late getting to sit down because I've been down in Ayrshire all weekend, as I say. So I was trying to I've got a little intro that tells people what the show's all about, and I couldn't find it quick enough to go live, so I just threw in my wee trailer that I had for my recent trip to Lesbos. So you've watched the videos, Basil. when I was in Lesbos, was there anything that happened to me or anything that I uncovered that particularly got your attention?
Yeah, well, obviously, I knew a little bit of what was going on behind the scenes as well because me and you were speaking. What I would say is that there's clearly more to this story. I mean, we are not getting told the whole truth about what's going on in the rest of Europe, and you can imagine it's for the same reasons that we aren't getting told the whole truth in the United Kingdom. Right? There are people who are making money from this, quite clearly. There are people who are organizations that have been set up to work for the EU, and you obviously pointed them out, this Frontex, which I didn't even know existed, who are not the usual border force, not the usual police force. They've been set up specifically to try and handle this migrant situation, and it worries me that these people, we don't know what their actual remit is. So when I saw you out there, I genuinely, I mean, Craig, obviously me and you discussed this. I genuinely thought you were going to go there. You were going to see, just basically what's been happening in Calais, but on maybe it's a wider scale or something. But what you discovered shocked me because I don't like to think of myself as a conspiracy theorist. But when people tell you about the globalists who are behind this stuff, and the EU, let's be honest, is a global organization. It covers vast, vast levels of countries, right? You sat there and thinking, what do they have to gain out of this? Well, if you wind the clock back to the United Nations and what they've said in the past about how we have to migrate people into Europe because it's replacing the fallen birth rate and all the rest of it. Well, sure enough, you pointed out the United Nations were there as well, and they've got moneyed interest in the area. So it scares me how we have such powerful organizations that are clearly trying their best to facilitate the demographic change of Europe.
Yeah. I mean, you can take it a step further and go, right, it's a new world order, it's all this stuff that's next, another level up, right?
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what's going on to say here that's factual. I can only tell you what I found out, and the stuff that I found out, and the reason that I found out is pretty bizarre. I went out there, as you say, I thought I was going to go out there just to, when I went to Calais, I thought, right, this is where they're coming in here. But how are they getting into Europe to get here in the first place? And how does that journey? And I want to, now that I've went to, what do you call it? Our point of entry, and now seen one of the points of entry coming into Europe, one of the main ones. I now want to almost document the travel between there and getting to our shores.
Yeah.
So I thought I was going to go out there, get some footage of the boats landing and maybe talk to a couple of people. That is kind of what I went out there to do. But because of all the spooky stuff and the weird shit that happened to me while I was there, if one or two of these things had happened, I would have probably not even noticed it. But there was some weird stuff happening all over the gaff. I thought, it was really dark, and I thought, what's going on here? And I started investigating the things I'd seen, which was Frontex, I'd never heard of before. And I don't know how, I missed it, right? They're a big thing. And the UNHCR, which is the UN's refugee mob. We look after every single refugee in the world, apart from the Palestinians, because they've got a thing of their own called UNRWA, which is nuts. They've done that to death before as well. So I'm kind of glad that I've done it, because it turned into something else. It turned into an investigation rather than just documenting stuff. And some people said to me, is that not a bit scary, the stuff that you, and I was like, well, aye. But I kind of had to go through that to jolt me into action to look at the other stuff. And bizarrely, the stuff that I identified about the UNHCR and Frontex, I could have done that for the confines of, I was going to say my living room, but as you can see, I'm not in my living room anymore, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But I would never have the urgency to do it. Yeah. So it was a great trip that it actually, I encountered some scary shit. And I'm a big lad, and I'm no normal shy, but I was spooked, that, because there was only two people I spoke to about what I was actually seeing, and you were one of them. But I'm kind of glad it did happen, because it spurred me into finding out even more. And the best case scenario is, and this is the best case scenario, we've got two organisations who are used to be getting inflated budgets year on year, and are just determined to keep their migration going because it keeps their organisation going. That's the best scenario I can find. The worst scenario is there's something even more sinister behind it all, and it's all part of some master plan. And I've said a million times, I am not going to be a tinfoil hat conspiracy theories channel that just puts out conspiracy theories and has to keep finding more so that I can put out another video tomorrow about another conspiracy theory. But what I will say is, I can no longer discount these things because of what I've seen, what I've felt, the atmosphere of that place, and the facts that I found out about these two organisations while I was there. And it's kind of scared the shit out of me. Anyway, we have Wee Blue, known to us as Wee Blue, known to the rest of the population of this good nation as Allan from Ballymena. Allan, how the devil are you, my friend?
I'm good, Craig. Houston, we have a problem.
Two good things there, Allan. One, you remember the intro, and two, your sound's fantastic today. We're not getting the echo that we've had the last couple of times from you, so well done with that. I don't know what you've done, but it certainly works wonders. So what's been getting to you? Because I was just saying there before you came on that you'd handily, you messaged me just about half an hour ago to say, let's next time you're having a live, will you get me on? And I kind of didn't ask you what it was you wanted to come on for. So I'm guessing, is there some more news from across the water in Ulster?
Yes, there's a few updates. Since the violence calmed down and the Romas left, the town has been very noticeably different. A calm atmosphere, more people using the shopping streets, people walking about at night that you wouldn't normally have seen. But the main problem at the minute is they're coming back in. The Roma are coming back into the town, and they're coming back into the town with a more brazen attitude than they had the first time. They'll confront protesters now. Did you hear that?
Yeah. What the hell's going on, mate?
Well, the war cry at the start from everybody was Ballymena leads the way, but in my opinion, Ballymena's getting left miles behind the rest. There's protests going on at Chimney Corner and in Bangor every week. Men, women, and children, they're turning out in their numbers. They're doing white line protests. In Bangor last week, they blocked the road, and that was a good story. The policeman that tried to tell them it was illegal to block the road wasn't carrying his warrant card, so he gets short shift. Only in Northern Ireland, Craig.
You were saying there that the Romans, they've came back in. I mean, did they bring them in discreetly? How did you find out?
Well, we just see people in houses again, and there's even some of them living in the houses that are still boarded up, but you'll see a light on at night. They're there. They're definitely there, and there are a few who have not moved out.
Wow. And when you say that they're getting a bit brazen, and are they actually going up and having a word with folk that are protesting? How's that manifested?
Yeah, they're shouting at them and standing staring at them in groups to try and intimidate. It's not going down too well, but at the minute the only protests we have going in Ballymena are women's protests. Now, fair enough, there's a few men going out to give them a wee bit of backup. They're not actually taking part in the protests. They're staying out of the way, but they're watching what's happening. But I saw it when we won 2 Eyes last Thursday night, where the women's protest was coming up Queen Street through Horrible, and there were 2 guys hanging out an attic window, laughing and shouting at them. Until I turned my camera on them, and then they neatly moved inside and shut the window.
Now, this is a bit nuts, right? you and I have not spoke for a few weeks, but if somebody had asked me, are the protests still going on in Northern Ireland, I'd have probably guessed no. But have they been on since the first ones? They've not stopped, they've not subsided, they've just kept going on. Is that what you're telling me?
Oh, they're still going on. They're not massive protests, but you'll still get a dozen or 15, maybe 20 women that'll go out and they'll walk Glenavon or they'll walk Harryville, where the Roma houses are, and that's happening 2-3 times a week.
Now, these things, and I'm always conscious to bring it back to these things, this started because of 2, maybe 3 cases of young females being abused by men of different cultures who had been here claiming asylum.
Yes.
What's happened to those cases?
Yeah.
What's going on with them?
The alleged rapist who fled the country, I don't know what it was with the aid of the PSNI or not, to be honest, but he's in Romania and the PSNI say they're trying to extradite him. He's a 28-year-old. The 2 lads who are alleged to have sexually assaulted the wee girl, they are apparently remanded in custody. They have been refused bail because they couldn't get a suitable address to give them bail. Now, meanwhile, all the young lads who were arrested after the violence, they're inside on remand.
All right.
So, there's definitely a 2-tier system here. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. It's bonkers, mate. I'm really shocked. I didn't even consider that the protests were still ongoing. I thought they'd been moved out, been arrests made, and that was that was a win for the people that were protesting. But it's not. And are you saying it's in different areas as well, out with Ballymena?
It's not. Yes, there's a migrant hotel at Chimney Corner. Pardon?
Okay. Where's that?
There's a migrant hotel at Chimney Corner, Temple Patrick, and it's full of foreign nationals. It's full of foreign nationals. There's a children's preschool across the road from it.
Wow.
And these guys have been out watching.
Your mic again. So
no, my mic's all right. I thought
you
were
right. You thought I'd went for a sleep. I kind of think I need another wee trip over to yours, Alan. And do a wee update from.
You're always welcome, mate. You know that.
Yep. It was always a cup of tea and crack 25 years. By the way, Basil, see if you're ever in Northern Ireland and you need to steal somebody's Wi-Fi, steal Allan's, right? It is magic. It's the biggest, fastest upload I've ever seen in somebody's house. And he's not only get one, he's get 2. So if the one's not just as good as it should be, he's on his other one.
Fantastic. I admire your enthusiasm, Allan. Can you recommend a VPN?
Hello, Basil.
Hello, Allan. Can you recommend a VPN now that we're getting restricted by the Online Safety Act?
Yeah, we'll just all log in through Alan's house, right?
Unbelievable, isn't it?
So, Allan, can I ask you a question, mate? Over in Northern Ireland right now, obviously we're seeing the protests outside the hotels. Do you have the same problem with hotels, or are the migrants just in the community?
Yeah. No.
Good. I don't
the
think
Roma, which was the problem in Ballymena. They were in the community, the Roma, but these other guys are dinghy divers, as they're known. They're staying in the hotels.
And will there be protests outside these hotels as well, do you believe?
Oh yes, there is ongoing. One of them's been ongoing for 2 years.
What?
Fantastic. 2 years. Wow.
Mate, you see if you want to protest, right? And I'm
2
talking
years,
about
Bangor.
up in Bangor. What hotel?
Bangor, yes, the Marine Court Hotel.
Is that the one right on the Marine Court that I was a guest at about 5 years ago?
You know,
Beautiful place. Are you kidding me on? That's a migrant hotel.
Well, it was a bit.
Wow.
That's a migrant hotel, mate.
Mate, I was invited to go it was a County Down supporters like Player of the Year award thing. And there was me, Richard Goff, Alec Ray. It does the Tom, the commentator. Honestly, beautiful hotel. And a stunning location.
Yes.
Beautiful, absolutely stunning. You look at that window, I mean, it was just beautiful.
Yeah,
Wow, mate. And that's not a big
overlooking
community.
the marina.
Yeah. And I don't think it had a
No,
load
Bangor's.
of it wasn't like 100.
Bangor's
It wasn't like a 100-room hotel or anything, but it had a good maybe 40, 50. And so that could be about 100 guys just put into that community. That's pretty shit.
So the guys are right, there's 100, at least 100 illegals living in there.
Wow.
And the Chimney Corner Inn, I mean, the Chimney Corner Inn was a great hotel. The Northern Ireland squad used to stay in it years ago and stuff like that there. Now it's a migrant hotel.
And where did you say that is?
The Chimney Corner.
Yeah, what is that?
It's just at Temple Patrick.
Yeah.
Near about 10, 15 miles outside Belfast on the road to London.
Right. I need to educate Basil here and maybe some other people in the room. Years ago.
Maybe they need an interpreter.
You what, mate? Years
Maybe
ago.
they need an interpreter.
Hi. Years ago, there was an Orange Order route planned, and it went towards a nationalist community. And right at the last minute, from memory, the police said, "No, you're not going down that street." Right. So the Orange Order and other loyalist organisations organised a protest at this bit where they were wanting to turn right, for example. I think it was a roundabout from memory. Now, Allan, forgive me for my naivety, but how many years did that protest stay in place for?
I couldn't honestly tell you, Craig. It was years. It was years.
if you're going aye, it was a roundabout, wasn't it? I can't remember the road. It was like a Galvaki Road or something. I can't just remember, right? But they just went, nah, not having it. We're going to stay here until you let us march down that road. And they set up a camp for years, wasn't it? You know, the boys were fundraising and keeping everybody going. And I'm like, don't annoy the folk in Northern Ireland, right? Because if anybody knows, listen, people all over the UK just now are protesting and they're finding their feet and getting out and getting active, right? But for longevity, you guys would win Olympic gold medals, right? Because you don't muck about. You just go, nah, we're not having it. We're here and we ain't moving. And you just don't move. It's absolutely bonkers. So,
Correct.
apart from that, Allan, how the hell is the rest? Did all the marching season go okay? Was there any problems with that? Was that? Because obviously we don't hear about them all.
No, the marching season passed off relatively peacefully this year, thank goodness.
Good.
I think the only really contentious one that goes past our down, the Orange men were allowed to march down the Crumlin Road in the morning, but had to wait until the following morning to walk back up past it again. So
what was the point?
They went home. They got to. I don't know. They got to a certain stage. Police stopped them. They all went home. The next morning, they all got bussed back down the road again to where they were stopped the night before and finished their parade up the road. Now, you tell me that's not bonkers.
So what was the justification for that?
Unbelievable. That's the Ardoin. They're marching up the Crumlin Road past Ardoin, but they don't. The Ardoin front is shops. You know what I mean? It's a shared road. It's a road beside the Shankle Road.
Yeah.
But that's where all the rioting has been over the past few years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how mad this place is.
We've got some questions come in. Joanne Gibson said, Craig, check out the Greenock Telegraph story on proposed no criminal checks on migrant workers applying to be taxi drivers in Inverclyde.
Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, some of the stuff that we've seen in recent weeks, right, with the Deliveroo, Just Eat and Uber Eats, they've been employing illegal migrants. No checks. Again, these people haven't been processed. You've got to remember, if they're in the hotels, they haven't been processed at all. And in these houses of multiple occupancy, they still haven't been processed. So when you actually say these are illegal, these are asylum seekers, they get officially called, they're not actually allowed to live here yet. It's just that we're running out of space to put them in, and the government keeps insisting on bringing them in. So, yeah, they say, well, if they're sat there doing nothing, they should be contributing to the economy, and that's how they justify giving them these jobs. But the thing is, for the rest of us, we sit there and go, well, aren't they a danger to society? By giving them these jobs and giving them more access to the rest of society, that will cause problems. And we've seen it with crime spiking in every single area that they are.
Right. I'm going on to the Greenock.
Well, wasn't there a Deliveroo or Uber Eats? One of the delivery men went to a door, and I think it was somewhere in Scotland, Craig, with a delivery, and there was a pregnant woman answered the door, and he took her inside and raped her.
Yeah. Yeah. There was also somebody
I don't know if that was Scotland or not. Do you remember
somebody on Twitter that I'm not going to name, because I think they gave the information deliberately to somebody else to put out, where they were getting the message. You know, you can message you sometimes to say they're running late or ask directions, and all that. Hi, babe, I'm just going to be with you in 2 minutes. You're like, that's kind of inappropriate.
Yes. A wee bit.
Yeah, I'm just
I'm
flicking through. I'm on the Greenock Telegraph website just now. Hopefully I've put it up on the big screen and you're all looking at it. But I can't see this story.
Yeah.
So let me just put in Greenock Telegraph. Migrant taxi. See if that brings us in. It might have been page or something. Oh, a day ago. Here we go. Right, so this is on the Greenock Telegraph Facebook page. As you can see up the top right here,
that's crazy.
Councillors are set to consider relaxing the rules on criminal record checks for taxi driver applicants in the area who were born outside the UK. What? Yeah. Right, okay, so now we're discriminating against our own criminals, right? Because criminals for certain things shouldn't be taxi drivers, right? It just doesn't make sense. But what they're saying there is, if you're a British one, we're still going to check you and knock back if, and a guy who's not born in the UK, who could commit the exact same crime, and by the way, could commit the exact same crime in the UK if what they're saying is we ain't checking you. So it's not the pain in the arse that you've got of trying to check somebody in Afghanistan and check the criminal record, because that would probably be quite difficult, right? But if a guy's came from Syria and committed a crime that sort of forbids you being a taxi driver, we ain't going to check him. We ain't even going to check his UK criminal record. No, it's not saying that they're doing it. It's saying Inverclyde councillors are set to consider relaxing the rules on criminal record checks for taxi driver applicants in the area who are born outside the UK.
What happened to all the outcry from years ago where people were told, make sure you're using a reputable taxi firm and don't be using these illegal taxis and one thing and another. And now you're not going to know who's driving even what's meant to be a reputable taxi.
I mean, that just beggars belief.
Well, in the rest of the UK, they've had a bit of a problem with local councils who, I mean, literally, I mean, people have left certain parties and stuff over there. I interviewed Daisy Blakemore on my podcast about the fact that she left the Labour Party over this because she wanted, obviously, taxi drivers to have CCTV in the cars. The same thing happened with George Medwick in Portsmouth, and basically saying that we need to protect people better because of all these rapes and stuff literally that have been happening because of taxi drivers, and this just adds to it, right? So again, you bring in millions of people from abroad, meaning we need more services, which means you go over relax the rules on who can come here. Basically, we are throwing away all of our standards of living and all of the protections we used to have just to keep up with the pace of the population exploding. But the reason the population's exploding is because of mass migration. We could put a stop to all of this tomorrow, but unfortunately, well, we end up where we end up.
Yeah. That's where I will put my tin hat on, Craig. That's Agenda 2030.
So it looks like, just when I was on the Greenock Telegraph, it looks like something's happened there. Aye. But that just makes no sense whatsoever. One of the most unsafe places for you to put anybody that you don't know who they are is in a taxi.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and when you're in a taxi, you can find out so much about people. You can find out who's staying at home alone. You can actually find out, well, they're not in the house because I've just picked them up from the house and I've dropped you off at a party and you're going to be out the house for a few hours, so I'll just go and empty your house, right? Forgetting about the safety of the person in that secure space. And that girl that you interviewed, she had suggested putting webcams in them. Yeah, that was her whole thing, wasn't it, Basil?
Like CCTV, she said we should have them in cars because there has been a rise in the rate of assaults and stuff, and it's obvious the reason why. It's the foreigners who've come over. Look, I don't like the fact that we have to turn around and blame this all on foreigners, but the truth is they are overwhelmingly disproportionately involved in these crimes. We are literally importing criminals, sex pests, whatever you want to call them, into our country. It's insanity. I honestly, it disturbs me when I think about the likes of Keir Starmer and stuff who go to bed at night. And John Swinney's the same, by the way, because he's turned around and said he wants more migrants in Scotland. And you sit there and think, who are these people? You know, in Northern Ireland, Sinn Féin have said exactly the same thing. Bring in more migrants. That's what we need. And they know, they look at the statistics and they go, these people are dangerous and they're going to ruin lives. You know, little girls are going to be attacked because of them, but they still do it. How insane do these people have to be?
Absolutely mental. So this is something, I've just picked this up with the Greenock Telegraph when I was on earlier. There's something happened down there, so I'm trying to find, there we go, statesman from Spoke. There's been like loads of police and coastguards and stuff down in Greenock this morning at the East India Dock, or East India Harbour, its proper name. The full statement from a spokesperson from Police Scotland reads, a 31-year-old man has been arrested following an incident in East India Harbour in Greenock. From 2:05 a.m. received calls reporting concerns for a man in Greenock. Officers attended and searches were carried out. The man was traced in the East India Harbour area where a disturbance took place. An officer was assaulted. The man made off in a dinghy. Wow. The officer received treatment at the QE, that must have been serious then, which is not the local hospital, that's a hospital home in Glasgow, the QEUH, and has since been discharged. The man has subsequently been arrested from a dinghy at Rue Marina near Helensburgh. Now, for those that are not local, this is at the edge of the Firth of Clyde, where the Clyde meets the ocean, right? And it's kind of a big bit of, it's still technically a river at this point, but it's fucking huge, right? Sometimes you can't see the other side if the weather's not great. And he's went his dinghy and they caught him in Rue, which is at the other side of the river. I mean, it's more like going across the Thames at Westminster Bridge, right? I'm actually just for a laugh, right? Just for those who are not, they don't know the area too well. I'm just going to pull a map up and give you an idea, right? God knows what this character's been up to, but it would be quite, do you know what would be the funny ending to this story? If he was a migrant that crossed the channel by a ferry and he's using ferries for, but I have no reason to believe. Right,
Just
so
gets about
I'm just
by
going to share that. Right. Right, so that's it. Can you see that now, these guys? Because I'm not looking at the
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
We've got this map up, yeah? So, on this map, you see Glasgow. It's a big city, right there, right? And the River Clyde runs through the middle of it, going from east to west. And then it opens up where you get to Dumbarton. Now, that bit in Dumbarton's massive, right? We've got a big, massive bridge called the Erskine Bridge, which is like it's massive, right? And it's like no as far down the river as Dumbarton. So even you get to Dumbarton, then you get Port Glasgow, then you've got Greenock, right? And then if you look north of Greenock, you've got Rue, Helensburgh, right? That's like quite a lot. And then if I zoom out a wee bit more, you'll see that bit known as the Firth of Clyde becomes into there. And if you keep going down the Firth of Clyde in your dinghy, you end up in Ballymena, and you can go and see our Allan, right? But aye, that ain't like across the Thames at Westminster Bridge, mate. You know what I mean? That's a good, I reckon, couple of hours, right, in a dinghy. Well, I'm saying it could have had an engine, but aye, that's a mad story. I've just stumbled on this, so but the ball side. So we'll go back here. So I don't know what he's done, but there you go. An unidentified man of 31 years of age has done something mad down in Greenock. So there's a map there. So it's showing you, oh, that's a helicopter's fast. So again, there's Greenock, and north of that, Helensburgh. That ain't a puddle. Right, he's been up to something naughty and potty. Love to hear what that story was if anybody in the comments knows any more about it. That was kind of wonderful. Right, so Baz, you were sort of pushed for time tonight. How are we for time for you?
Yeah, I got another 15 minutes, mate.
All right, Paul.
We can do another story if you want.
What else is right? Some more comments. Right, Martian says you've definitely got problems. If Basil's your guest, I suppose. All right, Basil, mate. So that's your man, Martian.
Martian, I keep telling him the same thing. I don't know why he brings me on this, but he insists.
Well, I'll tell you something. There's been 1,625 people watch this on your Twitter, right? That's
that's why.
That might be why. You bring a fair audience. Anyway,
yeah. we're actually beating GB News right now on X.
Again, yeah. That's mad.
Again,
right. Scotty John, question: children poisoning in Leicester and the child molested in his tent right next to his parents at a tent in Drumnadruick. That's what's up my nose. Yeah, I don't know too much about the Leicester thing, but there was a load of our kids, like 4 or 5 teams down at this tournament in the air this week, and it's like an hour's drive south of Glasgow. So a lot of our kids come from Glasgow. So a lot of them had booked in. There's a big Craig Tara caravan park there, and there was some rent with tents and camped out and stuff. And they were talking about it because obviously they're sleeping in tents with their kid. And what apparently happened was there was a couple of tents for this family. And the kid, I don't know why they would have the kid in a separate tent, but anyway, there was 2 separate tents, and the kid got molested in the tent next to the tent his parents were in. And you're like, what sort of society are we having? Well, that's acceptable. That's wrong. Did any of you two heard about these? Any of these things that because of poisoning in Leicester? That's totally. I don't have a clue. I don't know where that's. I don't know anything about that.
I honestly haven't heard anything about it. No.
Sorry, guys.
One of the staff at the hotel or activity centre they were staying at laced sweets with a sedative.
And
three young boys or 3 children. I don't know if they were boys or not. Yeah, where they were staying the night.
That's for those who don't know, when it kicked off in Ballymena, the protest started. They took the migrants out their houses and they put them up to a sports centre. And oh my God, this is just mad. See the Leicester thing, Basil, had you picked up on that one?
No, I hadn't. I haven't actually. First time I've heard about it was just you saying there. I didn't know about that. Sorry, no.
Crazy. Yeah, right. There's another one here. Allan K. Should we not stop taking the bait? Should we not be the bigger person? Are the migrants our enemy, or are there puppet masters behind the scenes? Or we should be directing attention to that. Sorry, that we should pay attention to. Well, I kind of have conflicting ideas. I know people like young Baraka, who's a kid that I've had on the show, 20-odd-year-old, lovely kid, great YouTube channel if you've no ever seen any stuff. And it's really like encouraging. It's really it gives me a lot of positives with this kid because he gets it. And he was born into a migration camp. His family had to flee Congo with the civil war, and they fled their house 3 years before he was born. He was born in a refugee camp in Rwanda, from memory. Might be wrong with that bit of the story. And they were there for 14 years before he got to come to the United Kingdom, and he got taken. He was in Manchester as a 14-year-old. And people like that, if we can do a bit for society, and the people like that who have genuine issues, then I like that. I like the fact that we can help them when we have genuine cases. But the problem I've got is the more and more we get in through illegal immigration and illegal asylum seekers, puts these kids. He spent 14 years in his life inside a 2.5 mile diameter camp. That ain't right in anybody's eyes, right? So are the migrants our enemy? The migrants who come here because we have genuine skill shortages and help us do things, and ones that come here because we can help people who are in time of need. No, but the ones that come here and commit crimes in my country, I have a bit of a problem with that. And the other thing we have is the numbers that are coming illegally. They're not coming here because we don't give them lots of freebies. They're not coming in boats from France to the UK because France is dangerous. They're coming here through choice because they know they'll get put up in a decent hotel, get to pick between a Samsung or an iPhone. We'll give them cash that, as we've seen in the last week or two, some of them will use it to go to casinos and have nice nights out. That's taking the piss. I don't like that. And I don't like the ones that cause safety fears for our children and our females. So, are the migrants our enemy? That isn't a yes or a no question, because there are so many different types of migrants. But the ones that take the piss, commit crimes and come here illegally, yes. Now, are they being driven here by people with nefarious ideologies behind them? Well, as I've identified with my trip to Greece, I certainly believe so. So, I don't think it's an either-or situation here. I don't think you can only have problems with A, the people that get them here, or B, the people that are coming. You can have problems and issues with both of those people. That is allowed. It's not an either-or. It's not, should we be directing our... What can I do to direct aims at the EU and the United Nations, who are doing some shitty things to this part of the world called Europe, right? Ridiculous things. I can only highlight these things when I learn them and put them out the home what other people will, and other people who are in positions of power can maybe do something about it. So, but can I be upset with the migrants that are here that are causing us harm? Well, yes, I can. And to a certain degree, the ones that come here to take all the freebies, I can't be angry at them, although I don't like them. I'm only angry at our establishment who have created this beautiful place, top of the list. I've spoke to migrants. I've travelled the width of Europe to talk to migrants as recently as last weekend. This time last week, I had just returned from Lesbos. I didn't go there to get a suntan. I spent 4 days in the island to find out for myself what the hell is happening. That's the forefront. That's one of the key routes into Europe. What they do is they get there, get to Turkey, and come in the illegal boats into Lesbos. And then they're in the system. They're in Europe. Then they get them a pass, and they can go anywhere in Europe. And the majority of them, this isn't me making shit up. This is me spending £1,000 to go and learn this stuff, right? And talking to them. And the majority of them in the camp, their ideal destination of choice is the United Kingdom. So I ain't talking like an idiot that turns up at protests with Palestine banners and I've never been to Palestine. I'm telling you facts that I've learned. We're going in my own time, at my own expense, which I want to come back to because the people, good people who watch these videos have been tremendously helped me with that. Right, I want to talk about that before this is finished because it's really get me emotional. Right, the support I've had. So I'm not a guy that's just turned up to tell everybody free Palestine. I don't know what I'm talking about because I've never been there and I don't want to look at it. I'm that foot soldier, and it's wrong, and it's wrong in so many levels. The people coming here to abuse our system, the people coming here to cause crimes, the people that want to queue jump, people like my wee mate Baraka, who spent 14 years in an asylum camp because every day there's more jumping the queue ahead of him. If these people stop doing that, the fake asylum seekers, the economic migrants are just coming here for the freebies, then we can help more people like Baraka and his family. So I'm sorry I went in a bit of a rant there. I've learnt a lot over the last week. Sorry, guys. Do you get anything to say about that? I've left it up.
All I would say is that I agree with them, by the way. And the thing is that you've got to remember that migrants are almost like the weapon. The people who are wielding that weapon, they're going wherever they see as opportunity, right? And I don't mean to like dumb down the situation, but let's be honest, right? We've seen the crime stats coming out of every single place. This mass movement of people ends up, right? It brings problems, right? And we don't have to take it on board. The politicians at the top who are encouraging this, the WEF, the EU, the UN, as Craig has pointed out in his recent video, and the UK government, and the Scottish government, and the Northern Irish government, and the Welsh government, they've all been doing it. And all of them in lockstep have been saying we need to bring more asylum seekers, more migrants to this country. And the truth of the matter is they know what's going on. They know the stories, they know the stats, and for some reason, they go to sleep every night comfortably. And I don't know how they do it. So yes, what they've done is decided that they are going to change this country irreversibly. They are determined to turn this country from a nation for British people into a nation for every people. And as far as I'm concerned, that's treason.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%, Basil. 100%. They're willfully bringing these people in.
Who's did we have a problem?
Absolutely no attempt to.
Who's did we have a problem? Hi, mate. Right. I've made an ass of something. And I've upset somebody. Guys, I've been rabbiting on. Normally when people join the room, I get a beep in my ear to say, beep, and you look down and there's somebody there. And I looked down about 30 seconds ago and Kev the Ranter and Monty were in. And I'm sorry, because I never noticed you were in, right? So I'm just about to bring these up. And Kev's not there anymore. So, Monty's in. Monty, you know the rules.
Yeah.
Right.
Houston, we have a problem. Can you hear me? Yeah,
there you go. No, you can clear, Monty. We don't have a problem with your mic.
Right, lads. Honestly, right. I've been listening to everything you've been talking about tonight, right? I didn't really want to go on here tonight and talk about this stuff, right? But have you seen this breaking story that's going on with this Morgan McSweeney guy?
No, go on.
So apparently this Morgan McSweeney, right, he is like Keir Starmer's chief of staff, right? And his family, who are very prominent in Ireland, are benefiting to the tune of 8.3 million euro, or about £6 million a year, to import illegal immigrants.
Start that again?
Yeah.
So Morgan
right,
McSweeney,
what's the connection to Starmer?
Right, so he's his chief of staff, right?
Okay.
So he's his chief of staff, right? And his family, his dad especially, they're apparently involved in this whole business that they've created, in order to import illegal immigrants, and they make so much money out of this, and then they offshore it all off or out of the country. Now, I think it's his daughter-in-law or something like that, is very prominent in the Irish government, Southern Irish government, where their job is to literally shut down the dissident views on immigration. And they're making something like £6 million a year out of this. And I just learned this today.
Wow. That's a nice wee and a nice wee connection to make sure you get an earner.
Yeah. It's a not a wee bad cash cow, that, isn't it?
Unbelievable. They're not even like
Morgan
trying to hide it.
Morgan Sweeney's mum and
trying to hide
dad are the two directors of the firm.
Yep. It's all coming out now.
Unbelievable.
It's all about money, and that's the important thing, Craig. Right? See, when you went to Greece and you went to Lesbos, right? And I said this to you the first time I came onto your channel and I spoke to you, and I said, follow the cash, follow the money, and you found it. You absolutely found it. Follow the money, because that's where it's going. That's why we're going in this direction, because this is what they're just literally taking your money off you. Anyway.
Mental. Right. So we're now joined by Alex Kearney, Spartan Child Protection top man. Alex, first thing, I heard you're taking me on holiday. Alex, are you there? Oh, you've muted yourself, Alex.
Hi, mate.
Can you hear me? Hi. So before you go to your point, what's this I hear you're taking me on holiday?
You hear me?
Hear you now, aye. Yeah, did you hear me?
How's it
I
going?
heard you're taking me on holiday.
Aye.
I love that idea. Your video and your audio is doing two different things, but it's kind of alright if we could still just hear you. Your audio is doing two different things, but and I'm now getting terrible feedback through you. I can hear myself repeating. We there? No, I don't know what's happening there on Alex, unfortunately. Anyway, I'll fill these in. Alex has disappeared out. Hopefully he can come back in a second. We've got an idea of doing a wee sort of mini tour of the UK with three people with slightly different angles, all at the same effect, that Britain is as safe as it should be. And just a wee bit of chat about 3 years hiring a camper van and doing the 4 areas of the United Kingdom, just to highlight that we're kind of all the same. And so we're hopefully.
Did you see the protest today in Canary Wharf with all the women and the children? It was only white audits.
No, mate, I've been at a Fitbit tournament all weekend.
Oh, I know, mate. Oh, it was absolutely brilliant, right? It was all just women and children.
I watched it, yeah.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Women and children were having a party. They were singing songs and all the rest of it. The police tried to harass them. And these are East End women from London, right? So they don't take any nonsense, right? And they just told the police to beat it. No, they're just going to do their thing. You know, and I was so proud of them, right? And it was like, and I'm sitting here with my partner, and she's like, you know, it was like, I'm really proud of the women, because I think that is the secret of this in a lot of ways, is that the women stand up.
Yeah.
And see, when the women stand up and the children stand up, you can't do anything about that. You know, and they make
to be fair, when I was over at Ballymena, to be fair, I don't know what's happening tonight. It's gone a bit mental. Yours coming and gone as well now, Monty. But one thing, when I was over at Allan's, first met him in Ballymena, that was something that they were starting to do. They were actually having a concerted effort to make sure there was certain protests that was just women and children, because then you can't do the, you know, the far right Ned cultures thing. And I thought that was great. And you know, if that's a way to combat some of the nonsense that gets flung back at people, then I think that's a good thing. Do you know
I'm going to take that. Yeah.
That's a good thing. Do you know?
Yeah.
I'm starting
That's
to
what
my
I
voice
do.
through you, Monty, when I'm. Right,
Well,
I don't know what's
I'll
going on
jump
with
in and let you guys go on, mate, right? And we'll talk another
Aye,
day,
buddy.
Craig, because about plenty
Oh,
of
nice
things
to
I
hear
want.
from you again, Monty.
Aye, without a doubt,
hope
mate. And thank you for having me, and I'll speak to you later, right?
no problem, buddy. Thanks for popping in. So I don't know what's happening, Alec. I'd like to get him on because there's just a couple of things I'd like to speak to Alex about.
I'm disappointed.
What? Sorry, mate. I don't know what's going on with IT tonight. It's just you're rubber banding on me, Alan, and I don't know how the other people are getting on with the feed. But guys, see the people that are watching. Could you do me a wee favour?
The sound's
If
not
you,
Craig. It's coming and going.
Aye, but it's more important for the people that's watching. Guys, see if your feed's good and it's all right. Could you give me a 1? See if it's terrible. Sorry, start again. If it's good, give me a 3. If it's terrible, give me a 1. And if it's all right and bearable, give me a 2. So 1 for rotten, 2 for all right, or 3 for it's good, please. Just hit your buttons now so we can get some feedback on what's going on. There's Alex Keane as one, mate. I'll get him back on stage. Yours is rotten, Alex. Well, at least they can see you this time. How are you, buddy? You're looking very serious, Alex. I've got a feeling you're going to tell us some bad news.
I can hear you fine.
Can hear you now. Right, buddy. What's annoying you? I genuinely, you look really serious. I'm kind of thinking you're just going to tell us a horrible story in a second.
I've not slept, mate, since Thursday. I'm travelling to London tomorrow. Obviously, I can't make Peterhead. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I seen you posted something, but there's somebody filling in for you.
Ryan's going to step in, Craig. This was booked last year, mate, for Philly JLA. It's a security gig for Barbara Neal, and I agreed it, and I was convinced it was Friday finish, and I was going to be up the road Friday night in a train, and it's a Saturday, so I'm on to Plums. So I spoke to Stephen. I'm going to arrange something else with him down the line in a few weeks' time, back up there.
Good.
I was looking forward to it, but it's just not to be. So there's nothing I can do about it. It's just one of these things, unfortunately.
So somebody told me there was a wee bit of talk about something that I was quite excited about. You might be taking me on a wee holiday soon. No?
I can hear you, but it sounds dead sketchy.
I said somebody told me that there was a wee bit of chat that me, you and John might be going on a wee holiday soon.
Aye, it's an idea I've had for a while. I'm going to get a chat with you. I'll give you a bell one night this week. I've got a good idea.
I heard about it, mate, and I think we should do that regardless of...
Definitely.
We should just make it happen. And I think the three of us have all got the same aims in life and the same concerns. But we all come at it from a slightly different angle, you know, a couple of degrees of separation. And I think if we do this and we put not our own spin on it, that's what I'm saying, but you know, we put our own stories together from the thing, the adventure, then I think, and what it would show is, I would imagine at the end of it, and we'll play it with a straight bat, if we find out different things, then fine. But I kind of think if we do this thing, we can then show people, listen, we've all got the same concerns all over this beautiful country, or what was to be a beautiful country, or. And I heard about it and I thought I would go
Yeah, I
love to
think
do
it
that.
will have a big impact. We just run the live constantly.
And
So
what were you?
Make sure
what's
somebody's
keeping you
always
awake?
live. Sorry?
Aye. What's keeping you awake for 3 or 4 days?
I've just been really busy, mate, and we were away at 3 o'clock this morning down to Darlington for that sting, and I'll get a kip tonight, and then I'm going to London tomorrow. So, no, I'm fine. I've just, that's what it is.
Busy with your as with your AC.
Aye,
Right,
aye.
well,
All good.
we're spoiled now. Now, there was somebody there in...
Let me hear somebody else. I'm just going to sit and listen, bud.
Right, well, we've got somebody that I know an apology, right? And somebody else, the exiled Viking, was in there and I was just about to bring him up and he's disappeared. But Kev the Ranter, something happened there that didn't happen before with him and Monty when he was coming in. I normally get a beep in my ear that tells me when we've got something. And I never got it. And then I looked down. I don't know why I looked down to the bottom and I went, shit, we've got Kev and we had Monty. So I don't know how long he's been sitting there. So, sorry, buddy. What's happening, boss?
Not much, mate. I might need to put my mic on mute because I'm just out and about now. It was just something you were talking about earlier on. Because obviously, watching you guys, and there's no point in me just kind of going into spaces and ranting all the time. You've got to kind of look into things a wee bit. And I was looking into something that's quite disturbing, and you guys must probably already know this with this migration stuff. So apparently, it takes 54 weeks to put somebody from start to finish through the process. And we're currently through the asylum process.
Right, okay.
Right? So we're currently, now I'm disputing these figures because I think they're way off the mark with this, but they're saying that we're just shy of 79,000 of them sitting waiting to go through the process. And we've got roughly 54,000 sitting waiting for an appeal, and it can take up to 5 years to put somebody through an appeal, the appeal system, because they can appeal as many, I think it's about 3 times, and it can take up to 5 years for them to go right through that full process. So that means currently right now, if you go by their figures, we're looking at about 130,000 of them in the country already, with the ones that are already still coming over. It just makes no sense to me, man. I don't know how it's that hard to say you've no documentation, we don't know who you are, we're just sending you straight back to where you came from. It's mental, absolutely mental.
That is crazy. Guys, I'm just looking through the comments here and there's something that is saying, is Craig just ignoring it? I don't know. Oh, and I'm kind of thinking it's saying, I wonder why people are making sure no one knows or talks about the series of attacks with 3 white guys by a black guy on George Street. You only put them in hospital, like. I don't know what you're talking about. So if that's the thing that I'm meant to be ignoring, bear in mind there's thousands of comments here, guys. If somebody's got a question, I should do a simple thing. Put 2 capital Q's at the start, and then I'm flicking through them all. I can't read them all, right? I can at least, it'll bring to my attention. But for somebody to say I'm ignoring stuff, I don't like miss anything, right? I'm no a stooge, I'm no a shill or all that shite that people want to throw at people when they stand up and talk online. If I miss a comment on a live stream that's got thousands of messages, please forgive me. But see if you look at the bottom of the screen, it says, send your questions into chat by adding QQ at the start of a comment. That's for a simple reason. It means I can scroll through them quickly and I'll get a fair chance that I'll no miss, right? So if that's what you're talking about, am I just ignoring it? No, I've missed it. But I genuinely have no clue about what 3 guys have been white guys by a black guy in George Street, right? So if you want to talk about anything, I'll give you a wee clue. The clue's in the name. It's a call-in show, right? Hit the link, come in, stick your point of view in. It's dead simple. If you don't want to put your face in camera, don't. You'll look now. We've got Kev the Ranter and Alex. Neither of have got their face up right now. So it's optional. So please give me a wee bit of respect. Don't dodge any questions. I don't ignore shit, right? If I don't know about something, I don't know, okay? But if that's not what you're talking about, stick 2 capital Q's in before your comment, and I will probably not miss it. Because again, sometimes we have loads of comments, and I can sometimes miss a QQ. Because I'm not BBC, I'm not Channel 4, I'm not TV News, I've not got 25 folks sitting behind that camera helping put this show on. It's my old mucker face, right? And you guys. So give a wee bit of respect. Anyway, back to the questions. George Street, I take it as George Street in Edinburgh. Well, is it George Street here? The George Street in Edinburgh is quite a busy street with loads of pubs and stuff on it. So if anybody knows anything about what happened in George Street, click the link, come up and tell us. No hassle. So there was another couple of questions came in. And John Hopkins Craig, there was a big turnout at the Village Hotel about their strike action. Have you heard from anyone there? No idea. Don't know what Village Hotel it is. And I don't know what the strike action is, so I can't help you with that one. If anybody that's in the studio knows, give me a wee shout. We've got Morag, who has gifted somebody a membership to the channel. Thank you very much. And she has sent a super sticker for £5. I want to just tell you what I do with this money, right? I want to be as transparent as possible with people, especially people that are putting money my way. You can be a member of our channel and you get some membership videos that others don't. You get, sometimes if I'm putting a video at 6, then it's ready at 3. Members can go in and see it early. And what I've been doing with the members' money is dead simple. This laptop's the 3rd laptop I've gone through since I've been YouTubing. This camera, another one just like it. Those lights that are shining off my baldy napper and all this nice stuff behind me. I buy equipment. I've got microphone. I've got loads of stuff that I've been able to buy, and I use your money for that. That's what I do with it. And I've got other people that give me money on buying me a coffee. And I only started that when I went to Greece. And guess what? He's blew my mind. Because the trip to Greece cost me about £1,000, maybe just over by the time it's tally it all up, fuel, whatever time I was there. And anyway, and I kind of thought, that's a big hit for me to take. I'll maybe put one of these buy me a coffee things out, because buy me a coffee take less than 10% of your money. YouTube take more. And I thought about it for a while, and I thought, well, this is a good way to test it. I'll start with buy me a coffee. And if anybody wants to help me with the cost of this trip, great. And I kind of worked it out that if I could get 300 or 400 quid, I'd be cool in the gang with that. I'd be happy. And I would wear it for the rest of it. However, he's blew my mind. Mental amount of money. He's paid for the trip. And I can't think he's enough, because I just can't believe the generosity of people. And there's every day I get back in and there's somebody else stuck a £5 in or £20. There's some people sent me $150. There's people sent me 100 quid. And it blows my mind. And I'm totally humbled, embarrassed and grateful all at the one time. So there's now a wee bit of excess in there. And what I'm going to do with that is that'll go to my next trip. So I can start the kitty for my next trip. I'm not going to put it in my pocket. I'm going to go to other places. And the money I've now moved in. You'll probably realise I'm not sitting on my old couch with a painting behind me that I kind of been using for 18 months. My back was getting done in. I was spending 18 hours a day sitting on that couch, right? I'm now sitting in a dining room chair. Because I've turned this room back into a dining room, a bedroom, and now I've turned it back into a studio. So what I've done is, with the money that the members give me, with Morag's put a £5 sticker in, they gave somebody a membership as a gift, so she's paid for it. I'm starting to buy all this, done a bit of decorating, table, bookshelves, all some more fancy lighting. I've got some more stuff in order for here. And it's brilliant, because you have paid for that. And you have paid for this laptop, and you have paid for the lights, and you've paid for this 2 cameras. What else have I bought? Just microphones, mobile microphones that I can tag on folk when I'm out and about. And it's tripods. Honest, but the biggest thing that will help me was these. This is my 3rd laptop, believe it or not. And it's just amazing. So thank you very much, everybody. I'm dead humble. And folk will tell lies. Folk will make stuff up and tell you whatever. Get paid with Mossad, apparently. It was the last mad one I heard. So I try to be as transparent as possible. If anybody ever wants to ask me what happened with your money because you gave me a £5 or whatever, I'll tell you. It's not a problem. So anyway, the reason I wanted to tell you that, just thanks, because it's so humbling for me. Anyway, listen, we've got Williams came in. So Williams is going to bring into the studio. You know the rules. What are you saying? How do you introduce yourself, William?
Hi Craig, it's William here. How are you?
Very well. Now, what's the rule? What have you got to say when you come up the first time?
Well, I don't know. Can you remind me what the rule is? Is this part of the Masonic order?
No, it's worse than that, mate. You say, Houston, we have a problem. And tells what.
Well, I take a vote. I've got a bone to pick with you. I would say, Houston, we've got a solution. I mean, I see
well,
that Houston,
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that because it's positive. Right now, but first, what? Sorry.
Yeah. What's going on right now? To me, I think most people look at it through a negative lens and they focus on all the negative. Oh, it's a crisis. The negative is just. Well, actually, there's so many opportunities right now. So I would say, Houston, we've got a solution. We've got multiple solutions. This is a great opportunity to get together.
Great. So if we've got a solution, we must have a problem to start with, or you don't need a solution. So what is the problem and what's the solution? Because that's a great way of doing it, isn't it?
Well, Craig, as a glass half full person, there are no problems, there are only opportunities. And this situation here with the migrants, it's an opportunity for us all to see the corruption in our world. And my question to you and everyone listening, if you were in one of these corrupt countries where you've got famine, you've got war, and some NGO is giving you an opportunity to go to Europe, would you not take it, or would you stay there and suffer?
Probably. So is everybody that these NGOs bringing to Europe, who a lot of them want to come to UK, are they all coming from areas where there's famine and there's war and there's corruption? So everybody...
Well, I see where you're going there, but let's pick a country like Afghanistan, okay?
No, what are you doing? No, stop now. Let's just answer the question.
Okay, well, let's be some countries where people come from. We've got Afghanistan, right?
William, let's just answer the question. I asked you a question. It's a dead simple yes or a no. Are all these people that are coming here, they're flooding into Europe, and quite a lot of them want to come to Britain, are they all fleeing countries where there's famines and wars?
No.
Great. So they're no asylum seekers. So there's a first problem, but you want to live in a world where we don't have any problems.
Well, let's say you're in Albania and it's there's not much hope there, and you've got an opportunity to come here. Are you going to take it as an Albanian, or are you going to stay in Albania?
If I was in the UK, which isn't a great country, and I have considered moving abroad to other countries, and I might do so in the future, what I do is dead simple. I'd pick a country I want to go to. I look at how I get there legally, and I put in whatever paperwork I needed to get there. And they may or may not accept me. So yeah, and if they said yes, then yes, I would take it.
You know what, guys?
William, here's a kicker for Albania. You want to go through every country then? Let's look at Albania. How much do you think you could get a reasonably cheap priced Wizz Air or EasyJet or whatever, maybe 2 flights to get from all the way from Albania to Stansted Airport?
For, I don't know, 80 quid?
Right. So why would anybody from Albania, for example, cross the whole of Europe by whatever means they see fit to pay a people trafficker thousands of pounds to get into the UK? Why would they do that?
Listen, it looks a pretty good deal for me. You come through in a dinghy and you get a free hotel. I could do with that.
So stop. You're just making no sense at all. So you're putting your life at risk. You're putting thousands of pounds in a smuggler's pocket for a trip that you're telling me would be far easier, because you could do it even if you needed 2 flights. You'd leave in the morning, you'd be here by night time, right? And it cost you 80 quid. And you think, I would still consider going across the whole of Europe to get to Cali, to go on a dinghy, put my life at risk, and pay a people trafficker anything between 2,000 and 6,000 euros. And you think that's quite clever?
I don't think it's clever. I'm playing devil's advocate, Craig, because I just feel we as a group, as a awake person, I've just been polishing my tinfoil hat. You know, I've been called a conspiracy theorist all these years, and, you know, it's still the case that we spoke about all of this, and I'm sick and tired of looking at it through a negative lens and getting upset by it. To me, I'm looking from the higher perspective. Maybe we've got a lesson to learn here. Maybe we can have a better world once all this is over, because the whole thing is an absolute farce.
Possibly, but I think for anybody to come anywhere within listening distance of me and tell me we don't have a problem, it's pretty fruity. I need to be honest with you, mate.
Well, I suppose you might say I'm bonkers.
What, sorry?
You might say I'm bonkers.
I kind of don't want to be disrespectful for somebody who's took the time and effort to come and try and help more people listen to this show, because when you come in, some people might follow you, right? But you sound bonkers to sit and tell me that we don't have any problems with migration and we should look at the positives. I'm kind of struggling, mate. Right? Because first of all, you wanted to go through every country and tell us how terrible it was and how these people want to come here. I then said, no, stop. Can you tell me everybody's coming through starvation and wars and stuff? And you've said no. Then you wanted to go through each country, and we've started at A in the alphabet. Made sense. We went to Albania first, and you kind of, I'm still not getting it. So, you come across pretty bonkers, mate. I don't know if you're just trying to be the most positive person in the world. I love that. I like positive mental attitude. I'm all up for that, right? but I can't spin this to being a positive at all.
Craig, that's not, you're imprecise. What I was saying was it's actually an opportunity. We can look at problems as an opportunity. I'm not saying there's not a problem, but there's also opportunities. Right now, we're having a conversation. This problem is creating an opportunity for people to come together and to start asking questions. What's really going on here? And who knows, maybe this will lead to universal basic income, whereby in order to get universal basic income, you need to go back to your own country. In which case, this will actually lead to a positive outcome.
Okay.
So it's just something
That's
for
still
you to think
it's a
about.
positive.
They say that the world is a stage, and here we are living this experience in the Earth School. Sometimes we take it too seriously, and my argument is, if we think from the higher perspective, maybe what's going on will lead to something good, because it's focusing minds, and people are saying, hold up, hang on, this doesn't make any sense. So they do the deep dive, they do the decode, and they connect the dots, and they start to ask questions. Who's this George Soros guy? What's his game? What's going on with the European Union? You know, and people are getting to the truth. So there is opportunities in this problem. That's my argument to you.
Right. And this universal basic income, would that be a positive outcome for you?
It would be, if you look at AI, it's already taken our jobs. If you had a situation whereby, okay, we're overrun by migrants, tell you what, guys, we're going to give everybody an income so everybody can live a life of dignity. Work will no longer be a necessity for survival. Work can be a choice. But in order to get this, you need to go back to your own country. And that's one of the possible plausible scenarios that will emerge as a solution to this, what's going on.
And you would see that as a positive?
Absolutely, that would be the golden age, Craig. Imagine getting universal basic income. We won't need to work. All our needs will be met. We can then focus our time on creative expression. We can focus our time on contribution, as opposed to being debt slaves for the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. And that's not what I'm hearing from you. I'm not hearing you talk about the real enemy. The real enemy is not the migrants. It's the people or beings or whatever they are that seek to harness us like batteries. And you're laughing, but they want you leaving the migrants for the problem, because it generates negative energy. And my argument to you is we need positive energy.
Yeah, okay. Let's just stop. Let's forget that people and children are getting abused in the streets. Women are unsafe. That migrants are the big problem. We'll cross our fingers. We'll have this magic universal income where everybody gets the same and nobody has to work. Right, William? Thanks very much for your time. Have a great night. Exiled, Kev, how can we help you?
Hey, Craig. I'm not going to be on very long, but I just had a wee update about the West Park Hotel, if you wanted to hear about it.
It's the West Park, for those who are not local and maybe didn't see my video on it. The West Park was
at Clyde, the one at Clydebank.
Yeah, let me just do a wee intro on that, Excel, before I give you the floor for who don't know the story. There was a concern with local people that there was some movement in it. It was getting closed, they were refurbishing it, getting set for migrants. Then a couple of busloads of people who looked for them turned up. Locals were suggesting that the migrants had come in. The hotel were telling us that no, that was we had shut the hotel, but this was a one last bus trip of an Indian family going to the hotel to go and say, look, if that's what it's telling you, let's do a podcast on it. And I couldn't get into the hotel. And then, since then, I've been on holiday, came back for holiday, went to Lesbos for 4 days to do my videos at the Migrants, and that's kind of where I am with Excel. So, you're going to give us an update on the West Park Hotel, buddy?
Yes, I went up there yesterday evening, and the bar was actually open, so I just sat and had a pint, and then I just decided to cheekily ask the barmaid, what's the deal with the hotel? Now, she told me that they had a couple of buses of Indian tourists, stayed 1 week, and the bar is open again. But because most of them were non-drinkers and they hired the whole hotel just for themselves, they decided to shut the bar off to the general public. But she also adds that the hotel is not taking bookings at the moment because it is undergoing refurbishment. But the bar is opened again, and as far as she's concerned, it's not operating as a migrant hotel, nor do they have any plans to do so in the near future.
Yeah. Well, where I was with the story, Excel, I was quite happy to say it wasn't a migrant hotel at that specific moment, but the concern was it was being turned into one. So, which you've been in there, more recently than I have. What's your gut telling you?
Well, it just seems to be that it's basically whoever thought that. I'm just saying it possibly was a false flag, but when I called them up and the receptionist had a South Asian accent, I right away thought, well, this is what happens when it's a migrant hotel. It's always a non-British person on the reception end. But I haven't phoned since to double check that. But I'm believing that he was there as part of the tour group that was there for the whole week. And that's just
the guy that answered the phone.
Well, that was like 2 weeks ago when I first became aware of this, but I haven't called since. But I did take some photographs discreetly of the inside, and there's plenty locals sitting around drinking their bevies and things. So, but the main reception of the hotel is still shut because I went to push the door open and it wouldn't open.
Yeah. And did you get any idea of when they're going to be open for normal people like United? Just book a room if we fancy doing West Highland Way or something?
No, I did not, unfortunately. I should have, but I was just in a hurry to catch the bus back because I was pressed for time. But I think she would have forwarded that as most people would. But I'll keep an eye on it and I'll call back maybe in a week or so and ask if they're taking bookings. And if the answer is no, I will then ask when do they expect realistically to open up the hotel to outside guests. I mean, just take it one step at a time, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well,
so that's
thanks
all
for the update. And yeah, I kind of think we're probably in the same place with thoughts on this. But it's definitely not a migrant hotel just now, right? Because there's nobody there. Been up, and there was like nobody there. There was no cars when I went up, so there was no staff. And if you get no staff, you can't be having any guests because, like, migrant guests probably wouldn't have cars on day one, right?
Yes.
But not 100% convinced it's never going to be one. Is that kind of a you are, Excel?
Yeah, I'm of that mind as well. I think in the near future they may decide to change all that, but for the time being, it's all things are normal as it seems. But there were no cars in the driveway, just one car which probably belonged to a staff member because it was just at the side of the hotel. So that's what I concluded.
Well, do you know it's a bit contradictory with the story they've told you and the facts that I found by Googling the company.
Yeah.
The guy that owns this owns a bus company, and they do tours of all over the place. If you go onto the website, you'll find tours. They go to like big shopping centres. They go to Devon. They go to like what do you call them? Big outlet villages. They go to tours to like what do you call them? The shows we would call them. They call them thingies now. What's the word I'm looking for? Parks, theme parks, right?
Yeah, theme parks.
Chessington, all that carry on, right? And they do ones with Scotland, and they have an itinerary for Scotland. That in one night they stay in a hotel to the west of Glasgow, and they wake up the next morning, and you start your tour of Scotland by going up Loch Lomond, and then you end up in Fort William and up all that way, and then Inverness, and then all the way back down in Edinburgh and all that carry on. Well, it sounds like a lovely tour. You would stay in that hotel for one night because it's a tour. So what they've told you is that this group were there on the tour and they managed to stay in it for a week. Well, that's contradicting what actually happens with this firm. And I hate that because my head, if you want to tell somebody the truth, but there's sort of holes in your version of truth, I'm not saying you're lying. But what I'm saying is I find it difficult just to accept your truth when I've already established some of the stuff you've said is not true. So that's kind of where I am with the West Park Hotel. The story has holes in it. And I'll tell you another peculiar thing. I went on to, this whole story was sent to me, it was a thing on a Facebook page, like a neighbourhood Facebook page, a Clyde Bank thing, from memory.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody came on anonymously and said they were from the hotel. And said, this is a lot of nonsense, blah, blah, blah. And I went to a note and I went, look, guys, I was up at your hotel today. It seemed shut, but I'm quite happy to do a podcast with you because what we don't want as if this hotel has got no connection with asylum seekers whatsoever. I don't think any sensible person would want issues at the hotel and people protesting that might lead to other things when they're not in a Thailand hotel. So what I was saying was the offer's still there. I'll come up, do a thing with you, and just put it on. And it would have been great if it was when the Indians were there, because how he's doing, how's your trip to Scotland? Aye, great, we come up every year. And you go, right, so there's truth here. And I kept following the story a couple of days on this Facebook page. And it was funny, right? Because some guy put on some quite harsh comments, right? He went, "I best of luck to you making fortunes after the rest of their demise of the UK and stuff," right? And the woman, it seemed to be a woman, don't know why I even thought it was a woman, but kind of, I had a woman in my mind when the way they were talking. And they went like, "Look, it's got none of your business what this hotel makes," which is a fair point. And even if we became an asylum hotel in the future, what's it got to do with you? And I thought, my eyebrow came up at that point. I thought, well, that's a weird comment.
It's almost as if that's their plan.
Who am I to say the line, mate? I can only tell you, point out facts.
Yeah. Well, one other thing, Craig, the barmaid, she just said she's not at the reception, but she believes a lot of calls were coming in asking about the migrant situation, but I don't know what was said to them. But she did confirm that quite a few calls have had from concerned people. And the other thing about these Indian tourists, maybe they were not with this coach tour that you described, because 1 week in one hotel is quite a long time, especially if they're going to be traveling far, and it would take forever just to get back there for the sleep. So I believe it might have just been something else when they were in Glasgow.
Yeah,
because you did see the photograph.
Possibly, but I say it. I did sit outside it when it looked like a family group photo of about a dozen people. Yeah, but on the Facebook page that I visited a few times trying to see the updates, they did say that it's tours that they do, and you use a hotel.
I'm going to check that.
You go to the tours. Yeah, see, I'm trying to remember the name of it. I put it in. I've done a wee video about it called "Is This Scotland's Next Migrant Hotel?" And in it, I get the stuff up for the guy that owns the hotel, because I've done a land registry search on it, got his name, bought the hotel for 500, 600 grand, whenever. So I got all that details. Then I've done a search on him and company's house, and yeah, he owns a bus company, right?
Okay.
It does tours, and you go onto their website and it tells you. I mean, they do tours every day. I don't think they're like a one bus company. And they do tours, as I say, all over the UK, different things, theme parks, shopping centres, outlets and all that carry on. And they do a Scottish one, and they do it like quite regular. And you have the itinerary. And the other thing it didn't tie in, because I was like, oh, there's the itinerary. So you leave, and there's all these collection points. It's not just, I think the company was based out Wembley way, out to the west of London. So they had some pick-up points there. And then they had some pick-up points on the way up. And then your first night was to get you ready to go to Loch Lomond. So that would be the night you'd stay at the West Park Hotel, right? Yeah. But the dates that were on it didn't tie in with the dates that these people were staying either. Because say, it's called the itinerary, they would have stayed on the Tuesday, and these people apparently stayed on the Thursday or something. So it was a bit, well, that didn't make sense either. So I could see holes in the story. And I don't want to say these people are telling lies. But when I see holes in a story, mate, I kind of get a wee bit, all right, well, that doesn't tie up. So anyway, but no, I appreciate you reporting it back to us, buddy. And
no worries.
Allan's disappeared.
Yeah.
There's all there. All grumpy pumps.
But what I will do, I'm just going to head off now, but what I will do, Craig, is I'll just keep an eye on it, and anything else to report, I'll come to you with it. But anyway, thanks for letting me come on. It's good to chat with you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's great for you coming on, because if nobody comes up, it's an off-at-home show. It's not what it's meant to be. Thank you. I appreciate that. Have a great day.
All right. You have a good night.
Cheers, buddy.
Bye.
Cheers, mate.
Bye.
Now, that takes us on nicely to what Kev's been up to over the last sort of week, 10 days. Kev, for those that don't follow you and I on Twitter, because I've been sharing your sort of journey over the last sort of week, 10 days, do you want to tell us what you've been up to with the Bumblebee?
The Bumblebee. Well, firstly, I apologise profusely because I forgot to do something when I first came on and say, Houston, we have many problems.
That's kind of right. I'm going. Do you know what? I've got a wee bag of nuts here. I've got this mad passion for cashew nuts recently, right? And the co-op ones are the best for you, and they're not a bad. So I'm going to mute my mic, so I'm not being ignorant, and I'm going to have a wee handful of nuts. While you tell the good people of the Great Britain and those listening from outside Great Britain what you've been up to for the last week to 10 days with your bumblebee, and tell them what the bumblebee is.
The bumblebee's the scooter, right? That's what it is. I know, I appreciate that. I mean, obviously, I've been sitting on X for about nearly 2 years now, sitting in spaces and just talking. And I'm watching many people right now trying to do good things. Obviously, I've followed you for the last 2 years. I've met you a number of times. Obviously, I've seen people like John Watt Bring the Noise. You've got Martin Gucci that's now getting out there. Young Eddie, you've got obviously Alec for Spartan, you know what I mean? So I thought to myself, well, look, if these guys are doing something, then I need to try and do something myself. So what I started doing is I've been looking at the website On My Doorstep and looking at what they're so-called, where the illegal migrant hotels are. And people are sending me details of hotels in their area and then I check it, and if it's no on that list, I go out and have a look at it. So I have been to a few hotels recently. 2 I did confirm as hotels, and 1 I'm not completely 100% sure about. So I've still the scooter's gone in for a service, so I've not really done anything this week, but I think I'll go out the night and I'll have a look at one that's quite close by. And I'll have a wee look at that one tonight as well. So I'm just trying to do my bit, because at the end of the day, we're getting lied to. I'm working with a guy in Edinburgh right now who I'm not wanting to say too much on this platform. I've spoke to you about it before, Craig. He's doing something. He's putting himself in a wee bit of danger doing what he's doing. But if he uncovers anything, I'm going to come straight back to you with all that. So, and I'm grateful to the people that have been kind of sharing the content as well, because at the end of the day, we don't know who these people are, and it's no, and it's like what we keep saying when we keep repeating this. You know what I mean? That we keep getting called far right, we keep getting called fascists, we keep getting called racist, and we're just concerned citizens. These people are getting rocked into these hotels. We know nothing about them, absolutely nothing about them. You hear Allan's got the same problem over in Northern Ireland. You've already highlighted that by going over and spending time over there. Do you know what I mean? And I just think it's right that we all try to do our wee bit and just highlight the issues, and hopefully, I'm not saying wake people up, but get people to see that we're just getting absolutely gaslit for the people that are in charge of us right now. There was a protest yesterday up in Aberdeen in front of one of the hotels up there. I'm still waiting for the photographic evidence of it, but I believe there is a photograph of this where one of the migrants come out with a placard saying Scotland is now ours. And if that doesn't concern anybody, any Scottish person, then I'm sorry to say, but there's something far wrong with you. And listen to that kind of crackpot about 10 minutes ago, there's your problems right there. Do you know what I mean? There's too many people are sympathetic to these people. Look, if you go and watch the one, there's a footage of the one in Britannia, Canary Wharf, and these people got ferried in under the cover of dark one night. There's not one woman and not one child in amongst that busload of men that got put into that hotel. I was down in a hotel in Falkirk just recently. There's no women and children in that hotel, not one. So stop lying to us and stop believing the propaganda that big screen in the corner of every room is telling you, and actually listen to the people that are prepared to go out there and actually show you stuff. I mean, you went to Cali, Craig, and you put footage out there. You can clearly see there's no women and children there. It's just all men waiting to get here. And you get the excuses, they're trying to flee war-torn countries. No, they're not. Men don't leave war-torn countries. They send their women and children away, and the men stay back and defend it. That's how it is. And I'm sitting watching, I've got Sky News on in the background now, and there's your problem right there. A guy called Steve Smith, they care for Cali. That's the clown right there that's our problem. Because these are the people that are helping these people make it way to our shores, our country. It needs to stop. But it just can't keep going on. But I've took a bit of inspiration to a lot of you guys that are actually trying to do something. I'm still finding my way. You've gave me a bit of solid advice. Alex has gave me a bit of solid advice. John's gave me a solid advice. And I'm just work away in the background and hopefully it'll get better as time goes on. I'm not looking to do this to get any fame or get any clicks and likes. I'm doing this because I actually genuinely care the direction the travel our country's gone in, and I just want people to see what it is what's getting done right under our noses. Because if you can't see it, it's just ridiculous. You seen that thing I sent you the other day there, Craig, with the Deliveroo driver? I'll be with you in 2 minutes, baby. No, I'm sorry, that's not good enough. You don't send that as a delivery driver to a female. That's not how we conduct ourselves in this country. But cheers for that, Craig. You still munching?
You know, Steve, I just put a mouthful for him into my mouth, and you've decided I have to talk again. I'm going to start spitting nuts all over the place. Anyway.
Right, well, okay. Look, still you've chilled your way through that. I mean, I'm getting a lot of good support off of people. Do you know what I mean? Scottish Veteran on X as well. There's a bit of a running joke because it turned out that it was just recently there was a poll conducted, and it turns out that the Scottish are the best lovers in the world. So just to let people know that the Scottish people are now top shaggers. I mean, what more can we say about that one? Do you know what I mean? So Scottish Veteran and I are kind of every space we go in and we do that. But I mean, there's a lot of good people on X have been sharing the content. I get trolled to buggery off it. I mean, I get some abuse off of people. But all I do is I'll just put down things, facts and figures that I've got, and I'll just put it right into their comments and then ask them to defend that. I mean, it's that argument where they go, oh, we've already got enough rapists. We've got white people are rapists and nonsense in this country. You're absolutely right. We know we've got a problem with Alex with Spartan and all these sting groups throughout the country highlight this on a daily basis. But guess what? We don't need to be important anymore. Do you know what I mean? We don't need to have these criminals coming in and causing concern in the communities. It needs to stop. And this, we're bringing in skilled workers. No, it's no skilled workers. We can see where they're going. They're going to warehouses up and down the country. They're working petrol stations. They're working, well, you heard that, you brought up that one the night, the taxi drivers. You've got them as Deliveroo drivers. We've got enough, what was it, roughly about 9 million people that are unemployed in this country. I'm pretty sure these people could do the job. But guess what? See if we pay a decent wage, people will actually go and do the jobs. This is just low skilled workers and low wages. That's exactly what it is. And then it's more money for them in their coffers. Hopefully that's filled that space.
Apparently, they all get wages whether we work or not, so we can go painting and making songs and stuff. Anyway, right. We've got. I've been packing some of the questions into a wee side bit for me so I can get to them now. Paul in Wales said, did you see the kebab shop workers fighting with swords and metal poles in Newport? No. Newport is
a belter.
And I take it Paul in Wales is in Wales. So, did you know about this, Kev?
I've seen it, aye. Seen it. The blue T-shirts, that was 2 or 3 of them, they were all out in the streets. But they're all cut to bits, man. Cut to ribbons. Boys got blood pissing out his dappy, his head and everything. It was on our social media.
Who was fighting? Kebab workers versus other kebab workers? Was it kebab wars that's going on?
Aye, well, it wasn't. Well, again, you've got to kind of choose your words carefully because of this, these kind of laws that are being imposed upon us. But let's just say they don't look like Indigenous Brits, if that makes any sense.
Against each other, though.
Oh, aye. Oh, it was brutal. I mean, you've got to remember, these people are barbarians. Do you know what I mean? This is how they fight. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I've been told a disturbing thing, and I'm just going to say it's alleged at this moment in time, but I'm still currently looking into it. But the illegal Deliveroo drivers in Edinburgh can easily be spotted because they wear face masks because there's facial recognition in Edinburgh. But the young team have got wind of that and were actually mugging them because they couldn't obviously go to the police because they're illegal workers, so they couldn't go to the police. So and now what they've done is they're now running about with weapons on them. So allegedly running about with weapons on them. That concerns me because bearing in mind these people are delivering food to most probably single mothers, single fathers, young families. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of disturbing things that you hear, whether or not they're true or no remains to be seen. Just like yourself, Craig, you've got to make sure that you've got the facts right before you stick that information out there, and that's why I'm currently looking into that one as well right now, because if that one is, then we really need to start exposing that one as well.
Aye. Just going to the questions that have popped in. Ronnie's making a claim on a question. Next thing he'll be saying the lizards are people in power. I take it that was aimed at one of our guests who was on a minute ago. What does this button do? Says Google the George Street stuff. Right. So I have, right? And I'll share what I found. So again, I did Google George Street stuff and it came back with nonsense. So I just went George Street, right? And it's pulled this story about George Street up in Aberdeen. So I was saying there's a George Street in Edinburgh or whatever. Forgot there's a George Street in Aberdeen. So it says here, a man and a woman charged after police negotiators called to an Aberdeen flat disturbance. A man and a woman have been charged after a large police incident. Oh, I'm not paying money for the bloody Press and Journal up in Aberdeen. Right. George Street was cordoned off around 8 p.m. on Friday as officers and negotiators worked to defuse the incident. A large police presence. Can you see that, Kev, by the way, up the screen? I'm just talking a lot of shit. Aye, it's there.
Aye, right,
was reported until the early hours of Saturday morning, with numerous police cars, vans and officers spotted at the scene. Firefighters and paramedics were also in standby. What are you doing?
It's definitely it's not that George.
35-year-old man and 28-year-old woman.
It's definitely not that George Street.
Well, I'm kind of saying I don't know what that doesn't. Well, something happened in George Street in Aberdeen, right?
Aberdeen,
and that was Friday. So if I go back, and I'll go tools, and I'll go sort by date. It was what, sorry?
Apparently, the one that the people are talking about in the comment section is George Street in Edinburgh, and it happened today, I believe.
Well, I've googled it. I can't do much more than that. Now, something I need to clarify, just because we're mixed company. Allan, I'm sorry to break the news to you, but Kev's a Tim, right? So, somebody, right, who will remain. I'm not judging you. I am not judging you. I'm merely painting a picture to tell a story here. Right, if you want to take offence to it, then you back in. Right.
Go.
Right. So, somebody who will remain nameless sent me a message asking me why I've got a green background. Allan, what colour do you think that is, mate? What do you reckon? What colour do you think?
I'm having real problems hearing you.
All right, sorry, pal. Kev, what colour do you think
that's blue, mate.
Oh, it's blue.
Thank you. Some dafty who will remain nameless because they're a pal has said that what's with the green light. Now let me just show you something. This won't last long. To be fair, being from Ulster, they don't tend to take offence about green because it's the colour of the national football team. But that is green. That is blue. And that is light blue, right? And that is the last time you'll see that colour on that light, okay? That's blue, and that's light blue, and that's green, right? So there we go. Hopefully
I'm going to have a stab at it. Without mentioning the name, I'm going to have a stab. I think I know who it has made that comment. I might be wrong. I'm not be saying.
Right, well, I'll text you the answer. Who do you think it is? Right.
Well, I'll not be able to do anything because I'm on my phone talking to you now.
Well, you find out later on. Who's your... What, sorry? What's your guess?
I'll not say it live. Well, wait, I'll speak to
Say
you in
it
private.
live. Get it
I
told.
think I think it's going to be that mad bastard Martian.
No.
No,
And Martian, not mad. Not, and Martian is not mad. Martian is actually quite a sensible
excuse
human
me.
being.
I've met that boy in person, and he's even funnier in real life, man, than he is on that platform.
I told you
Brilliant guy.
months ago, by the way, it could even been a year ago now. I had a problem, right? And I spoke to Martian for about 32 seconds on the phone, and he solved my problem.
Oh, he's
Like that.
brilliant.
It was an IT problem.
He's a good lad, like.
Mind, how did we see? Remember we seen his workstation that he had in the house? How did we see
I
that?
mind that.
Photograph it. How did we manage to see that? How did we were somewhere about 6 months ago and Martian had a camera in his house and he was showing us like his workstation. I think Martian could fix anything.
Well, listen, I think he could too, by the way.
Talking about Martian, look, he's wearing like that. There's too much nuts in you already. Jenny, now here's one for you. Jenny, I hope you're still listening. Jenny listens to all the shows. Thanks very much for your continued support. And she says, Craig, the Bruce, I think it's the Bruce Hotel, in his Brigade is 100%, and I take it that's 100% migrant. My mother works in there. Now, without doxing your mother, I would love to talk to your mum, right? And I think the Bruce Hotel was probably one of the earliest migrant hotels that we had in the west of Scotland. So if Jenny's mum is working there, I would kind of like a wee chat with her. Maybe not put on camera, right? And what we got here, I thought the Bumble's a transformer or a transgender. Either way, you can ride them both. Ronnie, I can't read it. Stuff like that. Anyway, so that's a good. I like that, right? Because now what I'm going to see, Kev bought a new scooter and it's yellow with black bits. So I call it the Bumblebee. And I've been away. Well, we're into August now, but I was away twice in July. Did I go to Cali in July? I can't remember. So I've been to Cali. Didn't happen in Cali. Then I went to a wee island off the coast of Dubrovnik for a holiday for a week in July. And then I went to Lesbos for 4 days to make some videos. See, when I went to Dubrovnik and Lesbos, one of the first things I seen was a yellow scooter, right? And I'm like, there's a Bumblebee. The mad Kev's following me about Europe. But anyway, so Kev's going about his Bumblebee. And now, because I know what Kev thinks of transgenders, I'm going to call it a transgender fender bender.
No, you're not. No,
Bumblebee.
you're not.
Aye.
I'm not accepting. I'm just not. I'm not accepting that. No. There's no such thing as transgender. You just can't transfer into anything you fucking want. I want to be a millionaire. But it's not going to happen anytime soon.
Well, it might. So, anyway, Miriam Muirhead saying, hi, great. Have you heard of Agenda 20, the Great Reset? Yes. If not, I would advise you to look into this. As this car that is going on the men coming into this country as part of the plan. There's also another thing. Was it United Nations wrote a programme about it, or a piece about it? I think you can Google it. And it's about the Great Migration, where they're saying Europe just needs hundreds of people. So if they just bring them all in, if not, it'll be terrible. And it was a plan by, it was the UN who put this thing together, and they called it the Great Reset or something. Something to do with that. Anyway, I've heard about it. So, where are we? And I don't think, Morag, have you gave me another £5 super sticker? Or does it just keeps repeating the same one? If you have, thank you very much. I do really appreciate it. And as I said earlier, all the money that goes in through YouTube, super stickers and memberships, buys equipment, and that's what. And by the way, the studio, hopefully, I'll be about 5 foot that way soon, and I can show you more of this wall as a background, and because I'm adding more bits and bobs. So the first thing I got was this stuff for the covering of the wall, because it's got normal wallpaper, the bookshelf, the lights, and just to talk you through what's here. This is a Sensei warmer. So not only has it got a little light that you can't see because of the big lights there.
That's Gucci.
That maybe see it now, it's shining, right? That was a gift. That wee thing there was a thing my stepson made for me. He's a big monster, a 13-year-old now. But when he was about a 10-year-old, he knew that I fancied a camper van, and we hired one and took a wee trip with a camper van, and he made me a Lego camper van. So that's why that's there. I've got books. The mad thing about these books, everybody that's wrote a book is somebody that's been a guest in my podcast. And that's not them all. I've got other ones scattered about, some in the car, some in girlfriend stuff. So I'm going to do that. That is just a plaque with my thing on it. That's a vintage microphone. And that's kind of what we're doing. So as I move the camera further that way, when I get all the other stuff done, there's another shelf here. There's another shelf here that you'll start seeing. So I'll need to be putting more stuff up there as we go on.
You
Okay?
put nice pink lights on, because that suits you.
Well, do you know what you're getting for that, cheek? Right? And anyway, I didn't know you were homophobic. And
Not me.
Right, so we're getting, but in fact, know what?
You've done well, right?
Orange you're getting, because you are talking. I need to get all this fixed. You'll see that they fell down. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. I'm building a studio, and it's been great so far because I've only spent a couple of days in it, and it's far from finished. But already the improvements to my back are phenomenal because I'm sitting in a proper high back seat with arms on it, and my posture's a lot better. So that's kind of Morag. Thanks very much for paying me some money, because this is what it's doing. Anyway, going to do us a wee favour. I'm just going to be rounding up soon, but what to do is, for the last 5 minutes, if you want to see the blue light, press a 1 into comments. If you want the red light, put 2. And if you want to see the green light, for the last 5-10 minutes, put on Kev. Right? And we'll watch how that goes for the next couple of 3 seconds.
Yeah, let's see
number one's number one.
Right, but listen, no, remember, but you're viewing demographic here. Listen, look at that. It's just ones. One.
Now, I was just about to finish, but we've got and I guarantee you, before I even bring him on the screen, he would have voted 1, right? We've got a new person coming in live. Just to remind them, you have to start by saying, who's to have a problem, and let's get in about it. So, Ian, how are you?
All right, brother. Houston, we have a problem.
Stop it now. You need to change the way you're sitting, because it actually looks as if you could be sitting on a pedestal in your toilet.
All right, bother. I'll stand up, mate. I'll stand up.
I genuinely thought, oh no, we've got somebody in the clergy. Right, Ian, I'm sorry to rush, but I'm going to be on for about 5 more minutes because I need to get my dinner, and I've been on for 2 hours.
No problem.
So, but I appreciate you jumping on. So what's the problem this time, buddy?
So I'm just wondering, right? So correct me if I'm wrong, but the last count we had Restored Britain. We what's his face? Rupert Lowe. We have Reclaim with Lawrence Fox. We have the SDP with yourself. We have Nick Tinconi with UKIP. And now we have Advance, which has been promoted by Tommy Robinson, our friend, and with Ben Habib. How are we going to get all these right parties to unite so we don't split the right vote? I'm just concerned about it.
No idea. And the easiest thing for me is I am standing for election in Scotland, and up here you get 2 votes. Give me your second one, please. So
I might give you my first one. It depends who's standing.
Well, you can't, because I'll not be sitting in a constituent. I'm going to go on the list. So second vote only.
I'll give you my second
thought
vote.
About it. Aye. So that was kind of the thing, because we're going, do you know what? Aye, if we were doing tactical voting and it was just a first past the post, then you're kind of going, right, okay, we need to sort of play this a bit clever. So listen, I'm saying that just now. The election's not till May, but if the election was right now, we would be putting candidates on the list, regional votes.
See if the SDP, say you get elected, Craig, because you're quite popular in Scotland, right? A lot of people would consider voting for you. And say, my friend Colin, I'm not saying his second name, but my friend Colin, he might be standing for Britain first. I think he's left because he's in a disagreement with Golden, but he was thinking of joining UKIP with me. And Nick Tinconi was trying to promote me to stand. I've got no political experience. I won't stand. I'm an absolute bomb scare when it comes to politics. I don't think I would stand. But if somebody for UKIP, like Donald Mackay, one of my friends who's in the church, he stands with UKIP in Scotland, he heads it up. Right, if he was standing, he get elected, you get elected. How would you unite the Unite vote? Because some people would be voting for you, some would be voting for Donald. Do you know what I mean?
Where is Donald going to be standing?
I think he lives in the West End of Glasgow. He goes to Knightswood. I think he goes to either Knightswood, Free Church Continuing, or Shettleston.
Right. So would he be sitting in a constituent candidate or a list?
Probably. I think it might. I don't know. I think Nick Tinconi was saying they're wanting to form candidates as many as they can. So I don't know. I don't actually know the answer to that. So I don't want to give you. I don't know. I'm not sure.
But it kind of is important, because if they were standing in a constituency, then you don't need to vote with anybody. You can vote for your mate in your
If my memory serves me correct, I think Donald lives in Glasgow. He might not even live in Glasgow, but I think he does. All I know is Donald Mackay heads up UKIP in Glasgow, and he's a friend. He's in the Free Church Continuing. I'm sure he lives in Glasgow. He's friends with the Reverend Willie MacLeod, and Willie MacLeod lives in Glasgow.
The most important thing is we get people who are of at least similar political bias into the place. That's the most important thing, regardless of the colour of the head.
Can you help me, Craig? See Restore Britain, the movement set up by Rupert Lowe. Is that actually a political party, or is it just a movement like the Great British Pack?
Similar to the Great British Pack.
Right, so it's not a political party like the SDP or UKIP?
No, but it could turn into a political party quite easily. But no, right now it's like a think tank, the same as a GB Pack.
Right. Oh, man. I mean, Tommy Robinson sent me a minute video thanking me for coming down to the rally. I'm out of pocket now. I saved up to go down to the rally. I've booked a place in Waterloo for the night, and I've got my return ticket. £192, man. I got a room for £48 and a B&B for the rally in September the 13th. And I'm out of pocket because I'm going down to Dover for 6 days. And the 20th to the 26th of August, I'm staying in this Christian place called the Bruderhof. And I'm sitting saying, Tommy Robinson saying to me I should join flipping Advance, and I'm like, well, I'm in UKIP. I like UKIP with Nick Tinconi. So Advance are trying to get Richard Ingham. I don't know if you know Richard Ingham. He was a member of UKIP. He's joined Advance. Aye, that's right. Yep. And he's over in Northern Ireland, and he's trying to get punters that, like myself, who are in UKIP, to join Advance and get UKIP to unite with Advance. What do you think the chances of that are?
No idea. I'm not a member of either of them, and I think it would be wrong of me to tell any other political party what it should do. I don't like the way politics is, where it's we've got to tell everybody that they're shite. What I will do, though, is I will call anybody to account that I think does things wrong, and I've been shouted down in the past because I've questioned certain things that go on in the forum that have been evidently the forum to me were a great white hope that just failed to deliver, and if they were what they should be, I'd have been a member, and probably I would have asked them if I could stand as a candidate for them, because that's where my head was at one point. And likewise, if UKIP had done something that I evidently thought was bonkers, then I would put it out. But I don't think it's right for me to say UKIP and Advance should join parties, because they both obviously feel everybody should join them, because that's what parties do by nature.
But all these people on the right, Craig, will that not split the vote and allow Labour to stay in power?
Possibly.
We don't want that.
Well, you could argue then it's the same way, if we all don't vote for non-independence parties in Scotland, we could be flipping the vote and giving SNP. But when you've got, and I think the Scottish Parliament will end up being a hung Parliament. I think it'll need some deal done with somebody to put somebody in power. And you've got Nigel Farage, who tells us that he's a unionist party, but has already told us that if it came to the Scottish results were counted, and they could be the kingmaker in deciding who was going to be the First Minister, that he would side with the SNP. He's made that public knowledge. And I told people this was a fear of mine months ago, and because of certain things that the forum were doing in Scotland, and I was told, you're a crackpot, you're a crank, you're telling lies. And lo and behold, months later, Nigel Farage comes out with the exact same thing that I said was a fear of mine. So, but, people, if all these parties were the same and identical, then there would be one party. So then that's the problem you've got with any ideology. It's all great when you agree with everything 100%, but the minute you agree
I was listening to what you said to me the last time, Craig. You said to me about maybe the family party would be right for me because I'm a pro-life views. But then I'm strong in immigration as well, do you know what I mean? So I like the SDP views about leaving these days.
Yeah, I think you can debate almost every party's policies, and you might have a different list and how you rate them. But one of the biggest attractions to me when the SDP thing was an option for me was the immigration. And I've not seen a single party, and that's, yeah, I'm the leader of the SDP in Scotland, so you might think, oh, Craig's going to say that. But I wasn't even a member 14 months ago. I think it was about July last year I joined the party. And that was one of the biggest, if not the single biggest thing about them. And the immigration thing is solid, right? It's about putting reasons not to come here, right? And it's dead simple. If you come here illegally, we're going to send you Ascension Islands. We're not going to kick you out. And it's like Rwanda, but better, because people that were against Rwanda, they were saying, oh, it's a foreign country and you can't do that. But we own the Ascension Islands. And for those who don't know what that is, if you draw a straight line between London and the Falkland Islands, it's about halfway along that line, and it's where the planes refuel to go to the Falklands twice a week. The MOD flights that go out there. So it's ours. So we're not sending you a third party country. And that in itself would do what I thought was the biggest benefit of Rwanda, and that would work as a deterrent without the excuses. So
the SDP
that's simple. What, sorry?
Sorry, Craig. Do the SDP support leaving the ECHR in mass deportations or just deportations?
Well, deportation, funnily enough, I can't think what I can say without getting into any bother. I was at a meeting on Monday, and there was a discussion. We're a Democratic Party, so these things have to go to our members, and members can come up and change policies. I've seen it happening. I've only been at one party conference in my life, and that was FDP's in November in Manchester. And I've seen it happen in front of me. Members go, oh, see, I've got this motion, I want to change this policy, and we vote on it, right? But there are discussions to get the deportation thing even tightened up. And I was saying it would be great, although it's not a devolved power, so it's not something that could affect if we do get into Holyrood. I think it's important that people understand the party that I'm the leader of in Scotland's ethos on deportation and illegal immigration. So,
what's your policy, Craig? What's your policy on? Sorry, Craig. What's your policy on? Like, some parties have talked about it. I support it, but I think it would need to be strict, and you'd need to prove somebody wrong for it. Like, say two guys in Glasgow get into a fight after an Old Firm game, and somebody gets stabbed. Right now, they're talking about bringing back the death penalty. I, in principle, support capital punishment, but I wouldn't sentence a guy for Shettleston fighting for a guy for Easterhouse and he stabs him to death for a stabbing. I'd sentence somebody to rehabilitation within prison, and I give him a tough sentence. But what do you think of that Rua Cabana? Would you bring back the death penalty as the SDP for people like that?
We don't have a policy about the death penalty, but again, it's something we'll discuss and how we actually frame it. I think it's important that people have an understanding. But the death penalty, let's be honest about it, right? A Rudy Cabana type thing happens once every 5 years, roughly. I might be wrong, maybe 4.5 years, maybe 5.5, don't know. Let's just say it's every 5 years. And when a crime like that happens, everybody starts talking about the death penalty. We should have it, or we shouldn't have it. So although it's important, and obviously it's current because that horrific thing happened just in the last sort of 12 months. If you look at the problems that Scotland and the United Kingdom have got, sorting out the question of the death penalty is probably not in many people's top 10 until another 4 years and we have another bloody horrific crime and we have another Manchester arena bombing or whatever the next, the Hamilton, the Dunblane massacre and all these horrific crimes that I think not many people would argue if they were the death penalty and they copped it, then so be it.
Craig, do you think even having it on paper would put the fear into people? The idea that that's it, you're finished with, you're going to be sentenced to death. Oh, even having it on paper would put a fear into people.
Well, yeah, but if you're going to put it in paper and you don't carry it out, it's only valid until the first person breaks the law and then you don't carry it out. So there's no point in just having it in paper. You kind of have it or you don't have it.
No, I would support it in principle. I'd support lethal injection like they've got in the United States.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many things that you need to consider. It's a big, massive debate. And again, it's something that, I find that it's an important topic, but I don't even think it's in my top 10 right now. Listen.
What do you think is deportations?
I think, well, I'll tell you what I think, and this is me having travelled to Ballymena, Glasgow, Edinburgh. I'm away up to Peterhead on Saturday to talk at a demo up there, and I obviously have the same concerns that I wouldn't have been asked to go to Peterhead. I've been to Manchester, spoke at demonstrations. I was at a demonstration in London. I've been to Dover, I've been to Calais, I've been to Greece, and I've got news for you. these concerns that I've got are shared by people all over those places in the United Kingdom and the places I've been in Europe recently, right? And they tend to be the level of immigration. Because some people's idea is they want it down by 100%, they don't want any. And some people just think there's too many coming in, we need to take it down a bit. So the level of immigration, the amount of illegal immigrants, the safety of our children, the safety of our females. Now that can be from immigration, that could be from gender critical stuff, that could be from a whole host of stuff, right? And lack of decent social and affordable housing. So it kind of doesn't matter what accent you've got in the United Kingdom, you tend to have those things as concerns, and I'm no different from, I believe, the vast majority of people in the United Kingdom, and I kind of think, so that's my concerns, and I think that the evidence I've seen over my travels over the last...
Would you agree with Tommy?
That's about...
Craig, would you agree with a quote that Tommy said? Tommy Robinson said that... Right, I'm going to... Tommy Robinson said the reason there wasn't riots up in Scotland and protest as much is because people... He was talking to me in Munich. He says to me that, Ian, the reason why it was so thingy up in Scotland, because I was ranting about being Scotland not doing it, and he says, Ian, when a woman gets raped, right, say a woman gets raped, right, and gets killed in London, people in Scotland, say me and you, Craig, we're in a pub having a pint, we're watching the Rangers game, we would think, that guy's a scumbag. Now, God forbid, say I was married and had a daughter, and you had a daughter, and we're out having a pint, something happened to our daughters, we would be out flipping shoulder to shoulder, wanting to say it about the people. Now, sometimes he was saying, his point was, and the point I'm making is, he was saying that sometimes people won't react until they see it themselves and it's affecting their own community. And that's why Scotland's been so laid back. But now that they're sending people all over Scotland for England, and especially Glasgow, it's really bad. That's now why Scots are starting to react.
Well, yeah, and a great example of that is when I get contacted with 3 people from the Royston community asking me to go up and cover a protest they were having because they've got a fear, and again, it's just a fear that a building in their community, which is, it used to be the chapel where the chapel put the priests and the nuns, and it was part of the school. They've moved out of there ages ago. They built a new place across the road for the priests and the nuns. The chapel was across the road, and it then turned into a youth centre. It's been closed a youth centre for a number of years, and there's a fear and a concern that that's going to be turned into a migrant hostel type thing. So they were having a protest. Now, these people are not unionists. Normally, the majority of Royston, if we're perfectly honest with you, is a sort of, not even a nationalist, but very heavily because of the demographic and how that area evolved, very heavily populated by immigrants in Northern Ireland, from Ireland in general, around about the sort of 50s and 60s. So it's got a high portion of people who are descendants of immigrants from Ireland who built this community. They're normally Roman Catholics. I'm not a Roman Catholic. Normally support Celtic. I don't. So they're very opposite to me. And they've got concerns. They've got the same concerns as everybody else. So it's now getting to Scotland when you've got communities that are so different to me in terms of everything, religion, politics, even football, got the same concerns. It's already here. When I couldn't believe it when Stephen contacted us, Stephen Rennie, and asked if we'd go up and support a protest in Peterhead. Now, I've lived for a short time and worked up in Aberdeen. Peterhead's another half hour north of Aberdeen. And that's a rural fishing village community that's now getting the same concerns as everybody else. So it's everywhere now. I was
in the Bristol bar watching the Rangers game there on Saturday, the disaster that it was against Motherwell. I was walking back up the road with one of the guys in Ballymena in the pub, and then we walked past, and you've obviously, the Bristol bar, right, and then you get the Loudon, and right in between it, there's this big Islamic restaurant, and I just walked past and I goes, here, mate, do you not think this is like Karachi walking up here? He goes, I know, mate, there's too many of them. And I thought, bloody heck, that's a powder keg there, 2 loyalist, staunch loyalist pubs in the middle of a flipping bloody Islamic...
That restaurant's been there for years.
Aye, but now it's kicking off with the Muslims. As people are seeing what Muslims are like. There was a guy in the Bristol bar went across the road and said, you better take a Palestinian flag down at your flat, or the boys for the Bristol are coming through your door. And he had to remove his Palestinian flag, but now they've put 2 out in Duke Street and they're getting pelters for it. Where I live is a predominantly Protestant area. Do you know what I mean? So they're not taking it because they know what it's associated with. It's a powder keg.
I know, 100%. Well, Kev, I've got bad news for you, mate. You still here, Kev?
I'm still here, big man.
Cheers,
What's
mate.
happening?
I owe you money.
Again?
I can't believe people do this to me, right? James Rooney sent in a message and said, Craig, stop the begging. This is for Kev, right? So YouTube take about 40% off, so 10% with 50 pence, so it's about I owe you £3, right? But I tell you what, I'll get a surprise for you, mate. Right?
No.
This is nuts, right? I was a bit ashamed. I'm going to share a wee story with you that I've got me a wee bit ashamed. When I was setting this studio up, I've been using this for a bedroom for 18 months, 2 years, right? It must have been more actually. And I moved the bed, and you know, it wasn't just under the bed, like, you know, when you put your hand on that, it wasn't just under the bed. It was a king size bed, and it was right bang in the middle of it when I lifted the what do you call that? But the base of the bed. 20 Mayfair, unopened, right?
Ideal. I'll take them.
I've not smoked for 20, 20 minutes. But more than that, 3 years maybe. So they've been under the. I don't know how they must have. I must have had a sleeve or something, and I've opened it up and the packets fell because you're a smoker and you lose 20 fags. You would have kind of remember. So it must have been at a time when I've had a sleeve, and I don't know how they got for there to like. It's a king size bed, 6 feet, so it's got about 3 feet in, right? I know who'll have them. So there you go, Kev. You've got a packet of Mayfair, it's it, right?
I'll get them off you.
That's it. Does that sound like a
Just
deal?
while you're talking, obviously, it was good you mentioned Peterhead next on Saturday. I mean, anybody that can make their way up there on Saturday, get yourselves up there on Saturday. I think it's important that we start showing the numbers. There's one the following week, the 16th of August, which is going to be held outside the Claddon Hotel in Falkirk. Again, the concerned citizens of Falkirk are going to be turning up there as well. There's a lot of things that have happened since the people have been housed in that hotel as well. I'll not say it publicly. People in Falkirk will know what I'm talking about. And then there's that. There's a thing on the 28th of February that's going to get advertised at some point down the line, and it's going to be called the March for Change. And there's a group here that's going to be walking from the top end of Scotland down to London. There'll be a route I'll be getting put out there. And if people can't walk the entire route, they can maybe pick it. If maybe you're passing through Dunfermline, you might say, right, I'll walk through Dunfermline down to Edinburgh and do like a leg. And hopefully we'll get numbers kind of joining that march, because at the end of the day, things need to change. And there was somebody said something in the comments earlier on there. I was reading the comments while we were talking there, and they were absolutely bang on the money, because I've been saying it for a while. Scotland's still too woke, but the biggest place that is woke is Edinburgh. That's your biggest. That's the problem right there. And if you needed any further proof of it, you just need to look at that Fringe festival. It's all politicised again this year. Do you know what I mean? It needs to stop. Do you know what I mean? We need to make some inroads into making this country a safer country and a better country for us all to live in again. Because right now we're losing this country badly, and I just don't think we should be losing it at all. We need to get back on top. So if you can be there in Peterhead on Saturday, get yourselves up there. 12 o'clock, Drummer's Corner, and then the following week I'll advertise the time was on X for the Falkirk one. And again, show the people. Anybody who's going to take the stance, get yourselves out there. Bravo to the woman up in Aberdeen last night. She took inspiration from Nick Denconey's visit to Scotland, and she went up and she organised a protest, and it was advertised. I picked up on it in X and shared it, and the woman thanked me for it too, but although no thanks was required for it. And over 200 people turned up at that last night. Now, that doesn't sound like a big number, but you know what? For something that was quite impromptu, that's a decent turnout and a decent size. So that's something I spoke to you as well earlier on, Craig. Keep your eyes peeled. If everything goes right, we might have one big massive protest going to get organised where we can all turn up every corner of Scotland and voice our concerns in one big place. So
it's nearly 10 o'clock. I've been at this for 2
Can I
hours and
just
20
say
minutes.
one thing?
No, I've been
Kevin,
at this for 2 hours,
No.
20 minutes. I've been at the football. No, I'm grabbing that off, mate. I've had enough. My head burst. I've been at the kids' football all weekend. I've been on my feet. I'm knackered. I've not had my dinner. It's nearly 10 o'clock. I need to go. Right. There's 2 quick questions. We're trying to do all the questions we can. Ronnie says, did you see the Pope's speech to Catholic youth today? I didn't. I'll catch up with that when I've eaten my dinner. And Wendy asked, when you use buy me a coffee to get full amount, Craig? No, I don't. The simple reason is these things need to generate business profit somehow, so they would be there. And you've got, even in a normal business with a transaction for a card payment, which technically you're doing, there's like 2 and 3% charges. They take a set fee plus 35 cents for every transaction. It works out, I get taking about just under 10%, I think it is, when I worked out last week. So that's not bad, because YouTube can be about 40% depending what you do. So there's all your questions, there's all your answers, and I'm burst. Right, so listen, thanks very much, Ian, thanks very much, Kev, thanks very much, Basil, thanks very much, Alex, thanks very much, Monty, thanks very much, Allan for Ballymena, thanks very much to somebody else on the Exiled Viking, and I kind of think that was it. But it's been great. I'm chuffed with the way this show's going. I'm going to keep doing it for another couple of weeks and try and get maybe a slot where I can commit an hour and a half on a Wednesday, Thursday night, whatever, and just make it a weekly slot, because it's great. I thought we might do this and nobody would come up and speak. We're having some great speakers up. Everybody comes up. I'm really appreciative of them coming up. And I was only winding you up, Ian. What was the last thing you had to say?
I was just saying, would Kevin know if they're arranging any buses or something that people could get? I've got free travel all over Scotland for me and myself, but to get to Peterhead and back's a trek. I was just wondering if we were doing any buses, or I could chip in my petrol and come with someone.
I'm taking my car's full. I've already had somebody on Twitter ask me if they could tag a lift off me. I can't put me in my car. Well, I can. I could put one other person in my car. I could take 5 adults quite comfortably, but we wouldn't be comfortable. So I'm stuck with 4. And there's been people talking about buses and stuff for months that this has been planning. Where they're at, I don't know. But if you go into Twitter, go into Stephen Rennie's page and ask him, he might know of people that are travelling from wherever in Scotland, mate. But I've got enough. I just went, I'll come and talk, I'll push the thing. But people start early on saying buses, and that was like, no, I can't even get, I've got too much volunteering stuff going on with it. And then when you do buses and you try to get a 52-seater, you go, it's 500 quid, it's a tenner a head. And then at the last minute, 20 folk decide they're not coming in the bus, and you end up with 300 quid, and the bus is 500 quid, and you get all sorts of stuff. So I don't know is the honest answer, but we're all adults. If somebody wants to organise a bus, batter in, let me know. I'll support that, and I'll put it out on Twitter and all the different forums. Okay. Right, so guys, listen, thanks very much. And as I say at the end of all my videos, if you've not already done so, please subscribe to the channel. It makes a massive difference when I put a video out to try to get them heard. I think we're about 77,000 now. Blows my mind why 77,000 would subscribe to my channel, but I'm thankful for every single one of them. And most important thing, unless you're the type of person that comes to this country and makes it worse than it already is, we've got plenty of our own nutters. We don't need to be importing nutters. We do not have a skill shortage of nasty people. But when more nasty people come here and make my home and your home worse than it is today, then no you. But everyone else, have a great day. Cheery bye now.